To what most people deem the second season. This is the 2018 OFC playoffs. We're in the semi-final round. It's number 3 versus number 2. The London Beefeaters and the Windsor Fratmen live from Alumni Field in Windsor, Ontario. We tip the hat to you and say good evening. Aaron Sanders with Badi Kawaz. Welcome once again to more football here on TV. Now, it's quite apparent that both of these clubs, they might have become buddies considering how many times they played against each other, buddy. The story begins with the London Beefeaters. 5-3 record, placed 10th in the CJFL top 10 rankings, and winners of 3 of their last 4. What can we expect from them tonight?
You can always expect a big effort from them. Generally speaking, it is a huge rivalry between Windsor and London, that short trip up the 401. And I know the last time they came down here, they were not happy with their performance. So you can expect a more concerted effort from them to try to knock off the Fratmen and enter into the OFC final next week.
Heading into the game, Chris Marshall said in one of the previews, said he wants to limit those turnovers and make sure he advances the ball down the field. We'll see if that's the case. We start with the Windsor Fratmen. They had a 6-2 record. Not a bad season for them, ending up second in the OFC. Winners of their last 3 in a row, no question about it. And keep in mind, a lot of these folks know, buddy, that once the Fratmen get the ball rolling, there's no turning back.
Yeah, speaking with Coach LaChance, he is very pleased with the way his offense has progressed this year. The passing game has evolved with 2 quarterbacks who are more than capable of delivering, and they've added a wrinkle with Nash Prier running the ball, so there's good balance. And on a day like today, when the weather could be a big issue from rain and wind, you can try to expect them to establish some balance on the ground and in the air, and then maybe get an explosive play here or there.
Best believe this is going to be a good 401 tilt. The winner of this game will play the winner of the Hamilton Hurricanes GTA Grizzly games.
And good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's action here on we-tv.ca of OFC Semi Final playoff action between the London Beefeaters and the Windsor AKO Fratmen. I'm Justin Prince, alongside me is Badi Kawaz, as the opening kickoff has just got underway for what should be a good playoff matchup here tonight, Badi.
Yeah, you can really expect a heated, contested rivalries. You can throw all the stats from the regular season out the window. Once it's playoff time, it's all about re-engaging yourself in a new season, and I think the Beefeaters are looking to knock off the Fratmen with a more balanced effort on offense and on defense.
And with that, it's time for the first play of the game offensively. Starting off for the London Beefeaters, McCollum takes the snap. Looks towards the right side of the field. Incomplete. Intended downfield for the coverage for Spencer Foster.
Yeah, the very first play of the game, they try to run vertical, and the wind is going to carry the ball from outside in from the London sideline towards the Windsor sideline. And that's indeed the case. It is a pretty strong wind today here in Windsor on this evening. It's relatively cool, and you're going to expect the elements to play a factor in the game.
Absolutely. Coming into today, freezing rain, a bit of snow about an hour before kickoff. In fact, 7 degrees Celsius, feels like 3 degrees on the field. It's 2nd and 10. Ball set up at the 36. McCollum looking to pass, forced to scramble, runs towards the first down chains, and is brought down short. Marked down at about the 44. That's about a yard and a half short.
Yeah, there's a little confusion there, and that's McCallum, who they're looking to bring some help to right now. He was landed on, and now the trainer comes out, and they are short, about a yard and change. So my guess, especially with McCallum needing some medical attention, and you see him crouched over right in the middle of our screen, that's number 4. And on our depth chart, I'm not really sure who the second quarterback's going to be. I'm not sure if he just got winded there. He's walking a little gingerly. But either way, we'll let the medical staff take a look at that, and we'll keep you guys updated on his progress as they line up for a punt on this 3rd down in about a yard and a half.
That could be huge implications for today. Will Spearing going to kick for the first time as he punts it off, goes out of bounds, marked out at about the 36. And now bring on the AKL Fratmen for offense for the first time tonight. They've been splitting quarterback duties throughout the season this year between Colton Allen along with Dan Mayu, splitting evenly basically. Colton Allen takes the first drive for the Fratmen.
Yeah, and both have had outstanding seasons. And like you said, they've split the duties, and their stats, as we'll get to them later as the game progresses, has been pretty balanced. So you have two capable quarterbacks as Colton Allen leads his crew to the first offensive possession of this semifinal.
1st and 10, ball marked at the 38-yard line. 3 slot backs in the motion. Allen hands it off. Nash Prayer jukes to the left, has enough, just enough for the first down, marked at about the 50.
Yeah, it's a straight, solid downhill run. Good job by the offensive line getting some movement. Nash Prayer runs that inside zone real well, presses the hole, makes one cut as he gets through the hole, and you'll see on the replay, he slightly cuts back, protects the ball on contact, and he crosses the 50-yard line and gives the Fratmen a first down.
1st and 10 at the 50-yard line. Allen sets up with 2 receivers and options to his right. 3. 3 slot backs motion. Hand it off once again. Prayer spins. Tackled at about center field for a gain of about 5. It'll be 2nd and medium.
Yeah, another good run. This is exactly what Coach Lachance wants to see early in the game. You're going to force London to try to bring some extra bodies in the box, and you can't play that umbrella coverage behind it. And the Fratmen have some talented receivers that they can exploit if the Fratmen can indeed keep this running game early on going.
And we'll see what they do on the 2nd and 5 at center field. Breer's still the running back. Allen passing on 2nd down, incomplete. The throw goes off the helmet of one of his offensive linemen. And that'll make it 3rd and 5.
Yeah, and they were trying to get the ball out quick to Devin Woods as he just set up on a pretty much all hook, and you see the ball get tipped at the line of scrimmage, and that's exactly the kind of breaks teams need, regardless of which team you are. You need the ability to maybe disrupt the pass here or there, a tip play like that, where you can stall someone's drive and hope for field position here. Now the Fratmen are going to punt and try to pin the Beefeaters deep.
First punt of the day now for Andrew Beaton as he'll punt for about the 40. The punt is away just off in time as he'll be returned from about the 30-yard line. Still bouncing around, picked up. No yards flag pulled on the play as he's brought down at about the 30.
Yeah, that's an automatic no yards. This bounce back rule now in Canada, almost all coaches say if you know it's a low kick and it starts bouncing around, encroach that 5-yard zone, make the tackle, make sure they get 0 return on it, and take the 5-yard penalty. If you can net 5 yards, and we get Alex Jemmy with the call.
No yards on the kicking team. That's a 5-yard penalty. First down.
I guarantee you, Justin, every coach would take a net 5-yard return all day of the week, every single game, and that's exactly what that was, only a 5-yard gain via the penalty.
That marks it down to the 36. Referee Alex Jemmy. Umpire Bruce Carter, Corey Cousins, Chris Patton, John Dodson, John White, and Kirk Hayes amongst the crew as the play goes towards the right side of the field. Brought across the 50, across center field, as it's marked out of bounds or between the center field line and the 50. That play, Josh Waller on the play to the right side of the field.
Must have been some confusion in the back end of that. That just looked like a harmless little swing pass. And you'll see here on the replay, just a little bubble. And it just looked like the Fratmen were just a little late reacting to that as Waller was able to get to the edge without any real presence from the Fratmen. And he crosses midfield, and that's exactly what the Beefeaters have to be able to do. Take simple plays and turn them into bigger gains.
And the man at quarterback is Mac Fergus, who had 13 completions, 31 attempts through the regular season. He's forced to throw. Incomplete. Felt a lot of pressure from behind. It'll be now 2nd and 10.
Yeah, and that's going to be a developing story with McCallum on the sideline right now, so we'll have to see, because listed on our depth chart, Mac Fergus is a receiver right now, so we don't know how many real reps. He might have played a few downs here or there, but in reality, you have one starting quarterback.
Let's take a look at the final standings for the regular season. Of course, the matchup tonight, 2 versus 3. The Hamilton Hurricanes went undefeated in the regular season, 8-0 on the season. The Fratmen came into tonight 6-2, with the Beefeaters 5-3. Then the GTA Grizzlies in the 4th spot, 2-6, with the Sooners and Raiders missing the playoffs. 2nd and 10, throwing deep is Fergus, incomplete. And 10 it downfield to looks like Devilman coverage. I think it was to Foster. Either way, it's third down.
Yeah, and you'll see here on the replay, just a straight go route. You're going to make it real simple. You got it up in the air. The wind is just going to move it a little bit, and that's something that when you have a backup quarterback in, reality is he probably isn't as solid of a thrower as McCallum, so you're going to expect some errant throws, but they came out throwing the ball 100%. They don't seem to want to run the ball right now. Their game plan might be to try to exploit the back end, the secondary. But the Fratmen hold and force the Beefeaters to punt.
Second punt of the day for the Beefeaters. Approaching 10 minutes to go in the first quarter as the punt is away. Ball bounces, will be returned from about the 15. Jogging to the right. Marcus Cooper on the return. Cuts across the 25. Avoids a blocker. Goes across to center field. Dodges another player as he's brought down at the 49. Finally tackled on the play at the 49 on what was a great return.
Yeah, that's a classic example of an athlete making plays. The ball bounced, the coverage was sort of there, but he outraced somebody, cut back across the grain, worked his way to the middle of the field, and now sets up the Fratmen around midfield. And you'll see here's the punt, a clean punt, but a short punt. And then Marcus gets the ball on a bounce, and here's where I would guess encroach that 5 yards, take the penalty and make the tackle because it's only 5 yards. Instead, the athlete's able to get ahead of steam and some room to work, and he works his way up the field.
And now 1st and 10 underway as Allen finds the quick pass. Receiver dodges his way around across the 50, brought down at about the 49.
And again, that's Marcus Cooper who's going to get the play there. They just run a simple little stop route. Throw it to your athletes. See on the replay, bang, catch, make one man miss, turn it up the field, and athletes are going to make people miss, and that's the key. Coach what you have and who you have, and think player, not play so much in the playoffs. Get it to your players and let them make you look like a great coach.
Fratmen having a strong start on their second drive of the game. Three slot backs in the motion once again for Allen. Hands it off to Prier. Rushes across the middle. He'll be brought down at about the 44, maybe the 43. And that's going to be second and about 4 or 5.
We have a late flag on the field. We're going to see what the call is going to be. But a good run if it stands. If it's an add-on, it'll be a first down. If not, it looks like the Fratmen are walking back a little bit.
One thing I did notice right at the end of the play was an offensive lineman might have jumped on top. Here comes Alex Jemmy with the official call.
Necessary roughness on the offense. That's a 15-yard penalty, second down.
Yeah, and exactly like you called it, Justin. That's after the play. So they get the gain of 6 yards, and you'll see here on the replay, the play stands. And sorry, we're going back to the live screen here. And the play stood, so it's second down. After the play, they walk it back 15 yards, and that's going to bring up that second and appears to be 21 yards. Never a good situation.
Second and 22, 8:50 to go. And approaching that mark here in the first quarter. Three options again on the right side of the field. Allen, he'll just hand it off to Prier. Nash Prier moves his way forward across center field, but that's still going to be third and long.
Yeah, and here's on the replay. They run counter tray. Nash reads his block, works his way upfield, and under normal circumstances, an 8-9-yard run is good. But the Beefeaters were playing bend, don't break. They made sure they made the tackle, bringing up that third down situation. And you're going to get Andrew beaten out here to punt and try to possibly pin them deep. The wind is going to move this ball a little bit, but the coverage is going to have to be very, very important here because you can't give up field position. If you're going to cross midfield, you got to try to pin the Beefeaters deep.
Currently the wind blowing straight towards the concourse at Alumni Field, blowing west. Very strong winds as Beaton boots it away for about the 46. He'll bounce out of bounds near the 25-yard line, make it about the 26, as the Beefeaters will take the field in decent field position once again.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you want to do. Limit any kind of returns. Hope your defense holds right here without any first downs.
And let's take a quick look at the London Beefeaters and their schedule for 2018. These are all the scores. The two of their losses came against the Fratmen. 55-21, 40-10 were the scores in those losses. The other loss coming against Hamilton. And that's where the 3 losses for London came this season with 5 total victories. Meanwhile, 1st and 10's a disaster. Ball bounces out of Fergus's hands as it looks like they're still going to mark it down at about the 20.
Yeah, and some pressure from the Fratmen defense. It looked like it was Jalen Butcher who got his hands there, and you'll see him come off the edge, and just some panic from the quarterback, probably a little surprised to see the pressure in his face, but then again, you got a quarterback who does not have a lot of experience playing right now, and that results in a big loss, and that's going to put the Beefeaters in 2nd and long and behind the chains with the shadow of their goalpost right on them.
To add to Fergus, we mentioned 13 of 31, 85 yards in total, 4 interceptions in 3 games where he made passes. Fergus will pass again, going deep on the right sideline. It's incomplete. And that one looked like it was intended to Spencer Foster.
Yeah, they've run verticals. This is their 3rd vertical of the game, where they're possibly their 4th. They're trying to get over the top of that. They're hoping at some point to connect on one. It's not necessarily a super dangerous throw. If it does get picked off, it's almost like a punt. But it's so hard to complete. It's not a high percentage pass. So the Beefeaters are going to have to try to find something that suits their backup quarterback a little more. Because if not, and the Fratmen offense can get rolling, it could be a long day for the Beefs.
Cole Spurrier will punt once again. Punts it away from inside the 10. Watches as the ball bounces around, picked up at about the 49. And that's going to go nowhere, return for maybe a couple, but great field position for the Fratmen for their next drive with 6:46 to go in the first.
Yeah, it's very uneventful right now. Not any really big explosive plays, a few mistakes here or there. Both teams probably playing a little bit cautious.
And you can see the Fratmen schedule for 2018 in the regular season. Their 2 losses came against Hamilton. In those losses, 51-12 and 20-12. But the rest of the schedule, very strong victories. Look at the margins of victory. 73-14, 52-9, 55-21, 35-4, 30-0, 40-10. A strong 2018 for the Fratmen for those 6 victories. 1st and 10 at the 46. Going to be rushed up the gut. Prier breaks off 1 tackle as he's brought down at about the 30.
Yeah, and that's a first real explosive play. Picked up a good 15, 17 yards, maybe even close to 20 now. Good surge by the offensive line. Good job by Nash pressing the hole, getting through the point of attack on the right, and then realizing I can cut back left. But it's critical that you, on any inside zone running play, you press that hole, and then if a cutback lane presents itself, you're there to stick your foot in the ground and go, and that's exactly what Nash did.
Allen sets up 1st and 10 of the 28. He'll pass. Goes for the quick wide receiver screen. Devin Woods rushes forward, trying to dive for the first down. Chains as he's pushed out of bounds at about the 17. That's going to be a gain of about 10 right at the first down. Chains.
It looked like a relatively harmless play, just a quick hitch. Might have been even a little bit of a lateral, but then you get Devin who gets a stiff arm, and you get Omar Hayes-Williams making a block and allowing Devin to work up the right sideline, and enough for a first down, and that's going to set up the Fratmen in that red zone.
1st and 10 at the 17, approaching 5 minutes to go in the first quarter. Allen sets up once again, 4 in the motion. He'll throw the quick play once again. Finds Cooper. Cooper gets a gain of maybe a couple as he's brought down to the 15 for 2nd down.
A real nice play by the defensive end for the Beefs. That is Mason Salmon. He comes right off the defensive end spot and retraces his path. He comes up the field, gets it. He realizes that the quarterback's already thrown the ball, and he makes the tackle, limiting that little stop route from the slot receiver. Good job by the Beefeaters defensive end.
2nd and 8 at the 15, under 5 minutes to go in the first quarter. Allen hands it off to Prier. Prier has enough for the first down, tries to get to the end zone, brought down inside the 5. And our strong rush for today from Nash Prier.
Yeah, that's got to be close to 40 yards right now early in this game. Just real nice job by the offensive line pushing that initial surge back against the Beefeaters, and that's going to be very easy for a running back. You'll see here the hole is available. Nash is able to get ahead of steam, and he's a little disappointed in himself that he couldn't break the tackle of the safety. But I would expect probably the very same run here and just give him the offensive line a chance to take over this game early.
1st and goal at the 3-yard line. Allen hands it off to Prayer. Tries to spin out of a crowd. Is brought down for a loss of maybe 1. It'll be 2nd and goal.
This time they tried that inside zone to the left, and not as much success going to the left. Part of that might be because they're inside. You're looking at a goal line situation. They spread out the field, but the Beefeaters did bring some extra presence inside. Might set up a play action. Again, I would not be surprised if you just turn and hand the ball off here. You have an all-star lineman on the left side right now. You might try to wedge your way forward here. You go to a jumbo set and try to power your way into the end zone.
Allen sets up under center here. 2nd and goal. Tries to hand it off to Prayer. And it looks like was brought down for a loss of 1, in fact, to the left side of the play. It'll be 3rd and goal.
Yeah, so that jumbo set, they didn't really take away the edge rush. It just looked like the Fratmen were a little late off the snap. The Beefeaters were real aggressive off the snap, and the end came through. It might have even been a defensive tackle playing a 3 technique who knifed through and made the play. But that's bringing up a 3rd and goal, and Coach LaChance keeps his heavy group in there, and they're going to go for it.
3rd and goal. Under 3 minutes to go in the first quarter. Allen going to pass. Throws it to the end zone. It's caught. Touchdown, Fratmen. Omar Hayes-Williams.
Yeah.
And the Fratmen are on the board. 6-0, 7-0, pending the extra point.
In this case scenario, it's just simple. You're going to max pro, and you want to get the ball out. You throw it to a spot where only your receiver can make a play, and that's an all-star to caliber receiver. Omar Hayes-Williams goes and gets it on that little slant route. You should be in maybe a press man coverage, maybe not give up the inside that easily, but they obviously gave up the inside there, and they were able to get the easy score. Good throw, good catch, good conversion.
And it looks like they're calling a whistle before the extra point attempt.
It's a timeout, Justin. It looks like the Fratmen were short a person. It looks like it was Prendunaha who just was a little late coming off or onto the field, and every point matters, so you better make sure you convert this. You have to make sure you have your 12 men on the field.
Today's broadcast of AKO Fratmen football is presented by Harold Remark from Loyal LePage Binder Real Estate. Contact Harold today to find your next home. But of course, the Fratmen on the board first with about 2:35 to go in the first quarter, and currently looking to buy themselves a 7-point lead. The extra point is up, and it's good. 7-0 is your score for the Fratmen over the London Beefeaters so far. And a pretty strong start for the Fratmen today, Badi, on offense to be able to have this kind of a run to get themselves on the board early.
Yeah, it's and you're going to see here some head-to-head stats right now. You see the totals, the scores, and the entire stat line across the board, Justin. The Fratmen dominated in every single stat, even in total penalty yards. They had less penalties, but they really dominated across the board, and that's a credit to the team not taking this Beefeaters lightly. They're the rivals, and those stats show that the Fratmen meant business. They wanted to make sure that London knew that this game had to be played here for the playoffs. If we lost any games here at Windsor, it would have had to go up to London, and the Fratmen just did not want to travel up the 401 to London.
Meanwhile, the kickoff is off and away as London returns it from about the 20. Trying to cut towards the side. Spence dodges his way inside the 35, almost to the 40. And decent field position for the Beefeaters. To get back to that point, that's an average score differential, win margin rather, of 32 points for the Fratmen this season.
Yeah, and as you see the replay here, those 32 points probably could have been a little bit more because the Fratmen did dominate just across the board as you saw those stats. And that doesn't show all the defensive stats because the defense did play well and the defense did create a lot of turnovers in that game, in those games. So there was dominance across the board. Now, right now, it being 7-0 late in the first quarter, the Beefs are probably not terribly disappointed where they're at, but they got to find some offense.
1st and 10 at the 37-yard line. Approaching 2 minutes to go in the first. Fergus will pass again. This time it's complete. Caught for about the 42, knocked out of bounds at about the 46. And that little quick play able to be caught by Luke Torini, to be able to get the play. Let's take a look at the passing head-to-head coming into tonight. Meanwhile, in that pass completion, you can see how the matchup has gone so far. And we've seen it a bit before from the total head-to-head stats. Not a single passing touchdown for London against Fratmen this year.
Yeah, but the bigger stat is those 6 interceptions against the 2. Those 6 turnovers are why the scores got expanded so far. The differential, as they're shown at the top of the screen, turnovers kill teams.
Absolutely does kill teams. Pass is complete meanwhile. And that's going to be a loss of a few yards on that completion. It's going to be 3rd and about 3.
Yeah, the Beefeaters are trying to find some rhythm with Mac Fergus as their quarterback because right now I've been trying to decipher where exactly Clark McCallum is on that sideline, and he is not standing right now. So he might be on the bench behind someone unless he has a jacket on, but there's no sign or evidence that he's going to be returning right now. So they're going to have a backup quarterback the rest of the way, or at least it appears so. So they're going to have to do some magic to try to find his rhythm to get or stay in this game.
Beefeater's going to punt this one off once again. 2 returners set up for the Fratmen. Cooper going to return it from about the 35. Cut his way around across the 40. Across the 45. Has blockers ahead. Juke moves at about the 50 and brought down at the 51. And a narrow good return from Cooper.
Yeah, very good. Patient run. You know what? The Beefeaters strung it along so that it wasn't as deep or as long as maybe the Fratmen thought it was setting up to be. But you see the punt there, and it's actually caught in the air this time. And Cooper gets across the 40, across the 45, but he's running more laterally right now. So it only turned out to be about a 14-yard return. Probably ran about 40 yards. But either way, you do that enough times, you catch the ball enough times, you get good field position. He's talented enough to break one, and I expect him to at some point during this playoff run.
And we've seen that a few times throughout the season. 1st and 10 at the 51. Allen hands it off. Nash Prayer trapped in the backfield. Cuts back to the left. Has a block. Still tackled in the backfield for a loss of about 2.
That was a good job by the Beefeaters to create some spill there. That looked like that was number 51 linebacker Mo Kadri, who was able to come up the field and present himself and get some pressure into the backfield and then create that spill, which means Nash had to reroute, and then he was unable to pick up any positive yards. So that's the first real time, other than the goal line sets, that there's been a solid loss on that first down play.
2nd and 13 at the 48-yard line. Approaching the final seconds of the first quarter as that pass is incomplete, intended for Woods.
Yeah, Colton Allen just seems to be a little bit off on the hitch routes. They haven't had that same zip. That one bounced. That one bounced to Devin Woods. You'll see here on the replay, just never got any leverage. His mechanics were just a little bit off. He rushed the throw, and I think he was fumbling for the seam. Sometimes big, tall quarterbacks, big hands, maybe the wetness is causing him to maybe look for the seams, but he should be able to throw the ball without the seams, especially on a 8 to 10 yard pass like that hitch is.
Andrew Beaton will set up for another punt meanwhile for the AKO Fratmen, as this will be the last play of the first quarter. Punted away from about the 37 towards the right side of the field. And it will just bounce out of bounds at about the 34-yard line. Decent field position for the London Beefeaters, but with that ends off the first quarter. 7-0 Fratmen is the score over the London Beefeaters right now here at Alumni Field in the OFC Semi Finals here on we-tv.ca. We'll be back in just a moment. 7-0 is your score.
Windsor started a tradition way back of giving us great barbecue north of the border, and you can taste that tradition when you come to Tommy's Barbecue. Dive into Tommy's rotisserie-style ribs and chicken, along with the crinkle-cut fries, coleslaw, and the original hot and sweet sauces. Plus all those amazing desserts like Black Forest cake and strawberry cheesecake. Taste the tradition and so much more at Tommy's Barbecue, 999 Erie Street East. See you there, Windsor.
Welcome back, everyone, to we-tv.ca for more coverage of the OFC semifinals between the Windsor AKO Fratmen and the London Beefeaters. The London Beefeaters are going on the ground for the first play of the second quarter. That time, rushing on the ground was Fergus to be able to get across center field.
Yeah, they just do a little option read here at the back end of that, and the quarterback, it's real simple. If an end collapses down, goes heel line off the offensive lineman, keep the ball, and he went off the left edge and picked up a nice gain and crossed midfield. So maybe that's what they're going to be looking for. They're going to be looking for a complement run option, run pass option from their more mobile quarterback.
He did average 13.5 yards per carry on 8 attempts in the regular season. He'll pass on 1st and 10 now. Scrambles forward again. Cuts towards the right side as he's tripped up at around the 50. That time on the tackle was Domus Lynch.
And low snap, quarterback was unable to keep his eyes down the field the way he wanted to, and then he sees the rush and he immediately goes to his instincts and becomes a ball carrier. So he turns a negative play into a positive as he picks up about 6 yards. So good on Mac Fergus to try to get his offense rolling a little bit, because now at second and manageable, the run is genuine there, the run pass option is there, and if he can complete something real quick, because they've had some success on some swings, maybe their athletes can make a man miss and pick up the first down.
2nd and 4 at the 48. Looking to get that first down as Fergus feels the blitz. Sheds off one defender. He's stripped. Ball's on the ground at about center field. Who has it? It's the Fratmen.
And that's the disadvantage of not having a little bit more experience at the quarterback position. You need to have two hands on the ball. And if you have two hands on the ball, you can protect it if you do get pressure, especially if you're scrambling up, back into the pocket where all the rush is. So you'll see here, they try to do a little bit of an inside screen to no avail. The pressure comes, and the fact that he's holding the ball down at waist level, that was number 52 for the Fratmen, Josh Allen, who forced that turnover, and that gives the Fratmen great field position to start this first drive for them in the second quarter.
1st and 10 at the 48. Allen throwing deep down the sideline, complete. Omar Hayes-Williams still pushing his way forward, spins over towards the end zone. Touchdown, Fratmen.
So now you see why the Fratmen in the first quarter insisted on running hitch after hitch after hitch after hitch, because they needed to freeze the safeties and they wanted to hold them, because if there is wind in a favorable direction, it's now with the Fratmen. So they did the little pump and go, and you get your best receiver, Omar Hayes-Williams, over the top on a go route. He makes a great catch and then uses that big wide body of his to just out-race and out-muscle. He pushes his way, drives the feet. Notice those pink socks keep driving forward until he's finally propelled into the end zone for a touchdown. That's an outstanding effort as the extra point gets kicked and is good, extending the lead to 14-0.
And a very strong catch and run from Omar Hayes-Williams. That's his second touchdown reception of the day so far with 12:57 to go in the first half. And now the Fratmen offense seems to be waking up. Real quickly, today's game is also presented by Natus Athletics Incorporated. Natus Athletics Incorporated was established in 1946 and is one of the premier places to get football equipment in Windsor, Essex County. With that, it's time for an air kickoff as the Fratmen lead by 2 touchdowns right now in this matchup. Only 7 points in the first quarter. Do you expect them to maybe wake up here in the second quarter?
Well, I think what the Beefeaters are really trying to figure out is what's going to be the best strategy to stay in this game and hope that the Fratmen make some mistakes. I'm confident they didn't have a plan to have their backup quarterback in after 2 plays, and that is indeed the case. So they got to get on that drawing board, and I think they got to commit to the run. As you see this return here, as he crosses the 30, and a real nice tackle and stick by the coverage unit. That looks like it was number 36, and that was Tyler Maher for the coverage unit for the Fratmen. You'll see here on the return.
And that was Spence, who was the one who returned it to about the 30-yard line on the play. And you can see the nice tackle right there. That's going to be marked down at the 32-yard line for this next drive. Under 13 minutes to go in the quarter, just past 2 minutes in, rather, as the Beefeaters look to try and get something to going here with Fergus. Fergus sets up running back, setting up to those left. 3 options to his left. Shifts over a few receivers. He'll pass again on 1st and 10. Looks towards the side, incomplete. And again, another incompletion, unfortunately, for Fergus today.
Yep, and some of that inexperience is really showing. That time he had time in the pocket. He was surveying the field, so that was a positive, but he was trying to throw the little hook route on the outside to the right, and you have to turn your shoulders, and you have to get your body in a position, just like a pitcher. You have to get your body in a good position to deliver that strike, and his body just wasn't, and it fell short.
Originally was the intended receiver on the play at 2nd and 10. He'll pass again. Another short play, complete. And the Fratmen are there and swallow up the receiver, that time Josh Waller in the backfield for a loss of about 4 or 5.
Yeah, and that was Tyler Maher again making a nice play, and you'll see here on the replay, they just do that quick little hitch, and it's just great pursuit right there coming all the way across, and the first person to contact was Elijah Blythe, one of the best defensive backs in the league this year, and he made the initial contact, and then it was cleaned up by Tyler, and that's going to put him in that 3rd and long, and unfortunately for the Beefeaters, they're in a real pickle right now, and I think they got to try to get to some of the stats that we're going to show you soon after this punt to try to get back in the game.
Punting from inside the 20 as the Fratmen will return it from near center field. Ball is actually picked up at the 50. No yards flag thrown on the play as it will be returned to about the 47. The one on the return was actually Dejenko, who is one of the blockers upfield.
Yeah, and he's a backup running back, so good for him. It's going to be a no yards call, so he saw the ball bounce perfectly to him. He knows there's guys in the way. There's no risk, really, because if you do fumble, there's a penalty. So this is a good situation to take that calculated gamble.
No yards. Kicking team, bouncing ball, 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
Yeah, and that's going to set up the Fratmen with great field position, and maybe it's panic mode right now for London with the injury to their starting quarterback. Their defense is going to have to really step up right now.
So it steps up 1st and 10 at the 42-yard line. Approaching 4 minutes into the 2nd quarter. Allen shuffles back. Hands it off to Prier. Miscommunication. Forced to rush to the left. Jukes his way around. Gets out of bounds for a gain of 3.
Yep, good call, Justin. Some miscommunication in the backfield as we're going to see the rushing stats coming head-to-head here for you. The Fratmen, over the course of 2 games, gave the ball off 22, 23 times a game, whereas the Beefeaters only tried 17, but the Beefeaters were way well behind most of the game. They have some decent rushing stats against the Fratmen. What they have to try to do in this game is try to reestablish that. Don't let this game get out of hand right now. At 14-0, you can still run the ball, and they're going to have to, considering they have a backup quarterback in.
And on top of that, the weather still very wet outside for 2nd and 6. Prier on the ground again, spins his way to just short. It looks like it might be 3rd and 1.
Yeah, and they tried that little counter back the other way this time, and you'll see Nash just run through, follow his blocks. If the linemen just sustain their blocks just a little longer, their kick out just a little better, you're going to be in a better situation to convert that. But they're going to bring in their heavy set. They bring in some big bodies in right now. It looks like they have a jumbo package in. They brought a different quarterback to the play. So that's going to be number 11, Pren Dunaha, who is probably their specialty, short yardage quarterback, keep quarterback. So you're going to see him come under center, and we do get a timeout, it looks like, from the Beefeaters.
And that's going to be the Beefeaters' first timeout of the first half. And it looks like they did that to get the proper personnel on the field. They had They had Mitchell Spence out there, looked like preparing for maybe a field goal attempt, instead bringing in a linebacker for this play.
Yeah, and for sure, it's 3rd down and 1. It's Canada. We get the 1-yard neutral zone. You have the snap count. This should be automatic. I know from my years coaching here with the Fratmen, it's one thing I coached with Coach Lachance, and I told him the first play we got to put in all the time is this wedge. You should always convert 3rd down and 1, 2nd down and 1, every single time in this country. We have the benefit of a yard. We should be able to get 1.5 yards every time without question.
Of course, lots of action going on in sports as well for the Windsor Spitfires as they get prepared to take on the Sioux Greyhounds Thursday, October 25th. Puck drop is at 7:05 p.m. Eastern Time. Lots of great tickets still available. You can get them online at wfcu-center.com, in person at the box office, or over the phone at 519-254-5000, extension 1. But with that, the wedge play set up on 3rd and 1. Pushing forward, flags are thrown on the play. The Fratmen get across the 1st down marker, but again, flags are thrown.
They were thrown so early that my guess is the Beefeaters were lined up offside. There's really no risk, like take a gamble, push forward. If that's the case, they got the 1st down either way. Here's the call. It does look like he's asking the bench.
Offside on the defense. That penalty's declined. 1st down.
Yeah, they picked up 6. They needed a yard. They picked up 6. Great surge. The penalty would only give them 5, so they'll take the result of the play. But that's exactly what has to happen. Tremendous surge. I don't care if the defense knows it's coming. Justin, you have a yard. There's the neutral zone. You have to take that every single time. That was tremendous surge by the offensive line.
Very strong push. Gets them the 1st and 10 of the 27. 10:30 to go in the 1st half. 3 slot backs in the motion. Allen will pass. Steps up in the pocket. Scrambles forward. And he's laid out hard at about the 22. Flag thrown at the back of the play at about the 3-yard line after the play.
Yeah, that might be a taunting call. You'll see here on the replay, Colton Allen steps into the pocket, goes to scramble, takes a big hit from Mo Kadri, then he flexes his muscle right over top of him. Probably said something. Maybe they'll pick it up, but they're going to conference here to discuss whether it was a genuine taunt. But it did look like he sort of flexed. Here's the call.
And it looks like they're saying no flag.
Yeah, and I think that's the right call. I don't think it was as much of a taunt as it may have looked like from the back end. So kudos to the referee crew to come together and decide, you know what, he really didn't do anything to taunt him. It was a big hit, a good physical play. I think both sidelines will be satisfied that that was a no call and bring up 2nd down and about 4.
2nd and 4 coming up. Ball set up at about the 22. Allen looks to the right. Finds Omar Hayes-Williams. Has the 1st. Into the end zone. Touchdown. For the 3rd time tonight, Omar Hayes-Williams finds the end zone for the Fratmen.
Yeah, and good. It starts with good protection from the offensive line, Justin. They gave him time to look at a couple different receivers. And when in doubt, just go find number 7. Colton looks, lets the route clear, finds the little window between the linebacker and the corner, and then Omar catches the ball, makes one man miss, finds the end zone, and he's on his way to a monstrous. He's got a tremendous performance already. This is the first half. He's probably got over 100 yards, and he definitely has those 3 touchdowns. As the extra point is good, extending the lead to 3 converted scores at 21-0.
21-0 with just past 5 minutes into the 2nd quarter. Let's look at the power rankings coming into tonight. These are the final power rankings for the CJFL heading into the postseason. The Saskatoon Hilltops on top of the power rankings for the entire season, really, for them with the 8-0 record. Hamilton 2nd in the power rankings. The Fratmen are in 5th in the power rankings. London coming into tonight 9th in those rankings.
Yeah, in my mind, looking at those power rankings, it's Saskatoon 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 can switch at any point in time. I think Saskatoon, the respect that they've earned over the course of 2 or 3 seasons now, they're the defending champs. They're the premier program in the CJFL. They deserve that number 1 until somebody knocks them off, and as we come back to live action here at Alumni Field.
Going to be returned as this is brought to about the 30. Fratmen bring them down at the 30-yard line. As now the London Beefeaters take the field once again offensively, down 3 touchdowns. What do you expect to see from them now, down this much this early?
To be honest with you, Justin, I'm not sure because I don't know what Fergus can do. Mac Fergus just is not their number one option. So they're really limiting. You're going to see the Fratmen bring all kinds of pressure simply because it doesn't appear that Fergus can complete anything vertical and anything explosive. And all this pressure is going to do is create turnovers, and the Fratmen are probably going to play with a short field.
Stacking the box a bit. Going to hand it off this time. The rush this time. Jaquan Ouellet able to get a big burst of speed, brought down at around the 45.
And that's exactly what will help all that rush. In that case scenario, they just blitz, and the lane integrity was not maintained. One of the Fratmen defenders got themselves out of position, and that creates a little bit of a seam, and then you have a good running back who can pick up. In this case, it was about 14 yards and a first down. So that's going to be his best friend. Fergus's best friend is going to be Jaquan in the backfield right now.
1st and 10 out at the 45. Do they go back to Ouellet? The pass instead. Fergus throwing it deep. Intercepted along the sideline.
No, they're
Officials
calling
waving
it
it off,
incomplete.
yes.
Yeah, he landed out of bounds. I saw it from my sideline. I saw his foot come down. That was Elijah Blythe, number 17. They tried to do a little hitch and go, something that the Beefs got caught on. In this case scenario, the Fratmen were not caught flat-footed. There's a little pump. They tried to go over the top, and Elijah just caught it out of bounds, and he knew it. He didn't argue. He saw himself on the white paint. So that's going to bring up that second down and long situation.
And that makes it 2nd and 10. Approaching halfway to go in the second quarter. The first down on this drive coming on the ground. Ouellet still the back, setting up to the left side as Fergus brings the slot backs in motion. He'll pass again on 2nd down. Steps up in the pocket. Brought down. Ball dances around. Fratmen scrambling for it. And a flag has popped out from Alex Jemmy, as they haven't signaled the direction of the play yet.
Yeah, the ball was clearly out. We're going to get the call here right now.
Unnecessary roughness on the defense. Headshot. 15-yard penalty, first down. 92. 92.
And that would be Jordan Krug.
Yeah, and you know what? I think on this one here, it was just when he was scrambling to make a play to recover the fumble. Any time nowadays you land and hit the head or neck area, they're going to call that 99% of the time. The 1% is because they missed it. That's all that is. So you're going to get that call to protect the players. I didn't see it, obviously, but there was a scrum for that ball as it did pop out, as you perfectly alluded to. So now we're going to see the Beefeaters try to capitalize on a turnover or on a penalty that gets them into the Fratmen end.
The Fratmen are loading up the box. Fergus passes off. Complete. Caught from around the 45 for a gain of a couple. It's going to be 2nd and about 8.
Yeah, and that was Spencer Foster on the reception, and he picked up closer to 4 yards there, Justin. And you see the Fratmen did bring some pressure, and he was able to get it out quickly. But blanket coverage, he was right on him right away, and it looked like that was Elijah Blythe again in coverage. They'll give up those 3 or 4, knowing full well that even if they complete them, it's not going to really be anything explosive. But more importantly, if he doesn't get that ball out on time, the heat is getting to him, and that will be a sack, possibly a sack fumble.
It looks like the Fratmen are going to do it again. Setting up some possible pressure. And a flag has been thrown on the play.
Delay of the game. And that's a backup quarterback trying to get the calls, trying to maybe change the play. And if you can read lips, and the hand signal was indeed a time count violation, which is a 5-yard walk-off, which is going to put them 2nd down and about 12 now. So it negates that short gain they picked up. But you can't always put the blame on the quarterback. It's a lot of different factors there trying to set up and make sure you're in the right set, but usually it's a quarterback's fault there.
2nd and 12. Keeps it himself. Swallowed up by the Fratmen, as that will be right at the line of scrimmage for 3rd down.
Yeah, that confused me a little bit because I was watching the action of the handoff, and it looked like the ends set the edge quite cleanly. So my guess is that ball should have went to the running back, and we have a late flag, and that probably is somebody chirping as the Fratmen are clapping, so the Beefeaters are going to be backed up after some probable objectionable conduct as we get the call here.
Objectionable conduct on the offense. That's a 10-yard penalty, 3rd down.
So frustration mounting. Somebody said something going back, didn't like what was said. The referees didn't like what was said. Clearly an objectionable conduct, and that walks it off 10 yards. And just little things like that are going to negate any chance for you to get back into the game, as we see the graphics going to bring us in here after this punt.
Punt's going to be for 3rd and very long. Just got it off in time. And the ball will bounce around, just stays in play and picked up at about the 25. On the return this time, Dante Lewis. Dante Lewis is still streaking down the field. Flag down on the play for a block as Lewis is brought out of bounds. And a second flag has been thrown after the play for the head out of bounds.
Yeah, that might be a block in the back initially, and then you might end up with a horse collar or a head tackle. It looked like there was a drag or pull from behind, as the referees are going to try to clean up both of these calls here. Now, I don't think it was a no yards because it was handled pretty quickly, but we're going to get Alex Jemmy, number 74, right center screen here, asking exactly where the one foul occurred and where the next foul occurred so they can determine where we're marching off the penalties. So it looks like they're going to have to go back to the initial flag and then march off the major foul.
Here's the call.
Team, 5-yard difference, 1st down.
All in all, it actually didn't hurt the Beefeaters all that much. They go back to the point of the foul for the illegal block in the back, which occurred at the 35-yard line. Good. So if the foul occurred at the 35-yard line, then the difference between they go back 10 and up 15 for the unnecessary roughness. So it's a net walk off of 5 yards, which is why you see the ball at the 40-yard line. And the Fratmen have decent field position again as Colton Allen comes back out on the field with his whole crew.
1st and 10 at the 40-yard line. The Fratmen offense, 3 passing touchdowns, all to Omar Hayes-Williams so far. Allen, forced to move. It's complete. This time finding Devin Woods and gets across center field for the 1st down. It looked like the first option may have fell apart there. That led to that.
Yeah, and that's because the defensive end did a great job. They were trying to get the ball to Brandon McCraney on a quick little hitch, but number 92, Mason Salmon, did a great job of taking away the quick hitch. So they went into scramble rules, and he found Devin Woods, but Devin Woods did get hit right on the lower frame, and he's the one who's down right now, and he's favoring his lower, it looks like his right leg. And I did see a very physical hit on that play there as Sean Haskett and the crew are going to look at his well-being right now.
And let's look at some of the team comparisons. These are the receiving leaders between the Fratmen and the Beefeaters coming from the regular season, rather. Jared Hayes-Williams was at the top of receptions and yards with 529. Then you have McCraney, London's top receiver, Spencer Foster in the 2 games in the regular season, Omar Hayes-Williams, Devin Woods, and Cody Young rounding out the top 6 receivers. And that's a lot of catches, a lot of touchdown catches, too, from the receivers from Windsor.
Absolutely, but you look at that, yes, they are brothers, Jared and Omar. Jared being the younger, Omar being the senior spokesman. And Jared has a little bit of bragging rights and more yards and a bigger average, but that's because Omar gets all the double coverage and gets a lot of the attention, and so does Devin. But like you said, great balance in terms of the touchdowns. 3 guys with 5 or more, and of course Devin Woods missed the first couple games. He has 4 to speak for himself.
First and 10 now at the 52 as they go back to the ground. Prayer pushes his way forward and finally brought down at the first down markers, as it looks like one of the side judges is signaling that it might be a 2nd and inches situation.
Yeah, and they ran that inside zone there. Good push inside the offensive lineman, and that's your all-star number 69 who just moves that pile forward, Kyle Jennings, and that turns into a first down. But just to give you a quick update, it looked like they took Devin Woods right back to the locker room.
And that's something we'll definitely try and keep you up to date with throughout the night tonight. With about 5 minutes to go in the first half in the OFC Semi Finals. Omar Hayes-Williams gets the catch, brought down at about the 34, make it about the 33.
Yeah, schoolyard play. Pretty much everyone runs all hook. You get the quarterback deciding who is playing with the best leverage, meaning which defender is playing off. Next thing you know, you throw that little quick hitch, hook, whatever you want to call it on the outside, moves the chains, or pretty close to moving the chains. It was 8 yards. And Omar, I'm shocked he didn't break a tackle there because it seems like he always breaks the first one. But either way, powers forward for 8 yards.
2nd and 2 at the 33. This time they're going to charge the line in the jumbo set. They got a first down and then some. Look at this. Breaking their way towards the end zone. Brought down at about the 1. The ball pops out of the whistle. But a heck of a jumbo set there that time.
Yeah, London was just not ready. It was 2nd down and real short. Well, short when I say 3 yards, but AKO made a quick decision, got Prent underneath center, and went jumbo, and they're moving and resetting the chains, and they're keeping that jumbo package. You just see the offensive line pushing. Just keep pushing their feet, and Prent kept running until he was tackled at the 3-yard line, and they're in that set right now. They expect this giant push forward.
And they're setting up in the jumbo set again. 1st and goal. Dahana under center. And this time, pushing forward. Did he break the plane? Yes, he did. Touchdown, Fratmen.
And I'm a big fan of that. That's just bully ball. That's what you do. You just get under center and you just say, stop us. Stop us. And at this point in time, there's no evidence on that wedge that the Beefeaters can stop him. You see the push. He falls forward. You see blue jerseys going backwards, white jerseys falling on him. And we're going to get this extra point to see if the Fratmen can extend this to 28-0. And they look like they're well on their way to another OFC final, even though it's early. Well, it won't jump the gun too much, but they look like they're taking care of the ball and doing all the right things needed to get to that conference final.
I absolutely agree with you in this 28-0 football game. 4 minutes to go in the first half as the Fratmen offense has woken up big time in the second quarter. Let's take a look at the rushing leaders coming into tonight. Nash Prier was the leading rusher with the most carries by far with 61. But as well, Tazi Vane Bell, that's in our storyline that talk about a bit tonight because leading rusher for London, not on the roster for tonight with 302 yards, averaging 10 yards a carry coming into tonight.
Yeah, and I don't think Joseph Varfy's on the roster, the dress roster tonight either. So you're looking at, and Clark McCallum out of the game. There's 3 guys there for London who carried and handled the ball an awful lot that aren't going to be active for the rest of this game here because it doesn't appear that Clark McCallum is coming back in this game as we see this kickoff from Beaton.
And this one's going to be returned from inside the 10. Brought across the 30, off to the 40, off to the races. Trying to juke around Noah Olenek. He's still going. Brought down at the 45. And a great return from Noah Olenek.
And that's the spark maybe that the Beefeaters needed. The one thing I don't like is kicking it directly between the hashes because it's just too easy to set up a return. All the coverage can just get pushed outside. And that was, like you said, a good return. He almost got it all the way up as Noah Olenek crossed midfield and got the ball all the way to the 45-yard line. And with just under 4 minutes left in this half, maybe the Beefeaters can score quick and possibly add something with another possession. In Canada, this clock really is slow for the last 3 minutes of a half.
1st and 10 now, marked at the 35. Fergus rolls to the right. Throwing into traffic, incomplete. Intended for Mitchell Spence.
Yeah, good coverage by number 19, Dante Fornaserio. One of the few times that Coach Morency opts not to bring much pressure. It's a four-man rush, and he plays coverage behind it, and that's going to force you to throw it into very, very tight windows. You had under coverage and over coverage, and the quarterback was just unable to have enough zip to drive that over the under coverage, and Dante Fornaserio in good coverage was able to make sure that the ball was not caught, and that's going to bring up a 2nd down and 10.
To get to the point in terms of the playoff history between these teams, it's just the 4th time since 1979 that London and the Fratmen have faced each other in the playoffs. The first in 2014. Fratmen lead 28-0. As now Fergus forced to throw it out of bounds to make it 3rd and 10. In those games, 81-60 is the score differential, and that's going to be added even more so tonight.
Yeah, these two teams, for some reason, in the playoffs the last handful of years, haven't met as often, probably because Ottawa's been the 3rd team of the last couple years in that window, the 3rd or the 4th, with the Fratmen being the number 1 a lot of the times. So it's just an awkward stat that they haven't met as frequently as you'd expect in the playoffs. But you never know. This could be the start of a cycle of 4 or 5 years in a row where they meet in the semis or the finals.
And now they're going to have to give the ball back to the Fratmen, punting it away. Ball bounces at the 20. London trying to avoid the no yards, bounces around, flag is thrown as the play is called dead at around the 26.
Yeah, but the problem with that is that looked like that was Cole Spearing who recovered that ball. And if it's Cole Spearing, he's the punter. And the punter recovered the ball past the yards to gain. It looks like the defense is going to have to go back out to the field. I'm pretty confident here that that is going to be a live ball recovered by the Beefeaters.
We're going to have to see what Alex Jemmy says here, because this is interesting. It's the first time we've seen this situation all season here in OFC play in the CJFL.
That was just a heads-up play by the punter. He realized that it was a shorter kick. It got hung up in the wind. Now, the question is, was there another Beefeater in that 5-yard zone making a play? Here's the call.
Once again, your referee, Alex Jemmy.
They're picking up the flag.
There is no flag. It was recovered by the kicker. Nobody else participated. 1st down.
And what a play.
Yeah, and that's the rule right now. What they say by no one else participated, meaning there was no one else actively pushing any of the Fratmen or making anything blocks or illegal or trying to recover the ball in that area vicinity of where it was recovered by the onside kicker. And that's going to give the Beefeaters a tremendous break as there's a turnover on special teams, and the Beefeaters have to capitalize if they're going to try to get back into this game, because they have great field position at the 25-yard line right now.
This could be a pivotal moment for London to try and get some momentum. 2:45 to go in the first half. Fergus passing on 1st down, throwing towards the side. And the ball looks to be caught in the end zone, but there is a flag thrown in the backfield.
Yeah, it was incomplete, actually, Justin.
Rather.
Here's the call.
On the defense, roughing the passer. 33.
So unnecessary roughness, and it looks like it was called on Carter Wood. Coach Morency saw an opportunity to bring some heat, and he sees every opportunity, let's put it that way. And Carter Wood got a roughing the passer call here, and the ball was a little underthrown, but I would have liked to see the receiver fight through the pressure there and maybe make that catch, help your quarterback out. But either way, it's a 15-yard penalty. That's going to move the ball all the way to the 10-yard line as the Beefeaters are running to the line of scrimmage. Good to see that they have a little bit of pep in their step right now, and they're trying to get some momentum and try to score before this half expires.
After the penalty, 1st and goal. Play called in motion. Once again, Fergus scrambling to the right. Throws on the motion, corner end zone. Bounces out incomplete. Very tough coverage on Spence on that one once again by the Fratmen.
Yeah, nice effort by Fergus to get the ball there. It hit his receiver in the hands. You'll see him on the sprint out here. They set the edge, allow the quarterback to get outside, throws on the run, throws a pretty good pass, but it's well defended, and that looked like it was number 19, Dante Fornaserio, again in blanket coverage, defending that extremely well and knocking the ball loose so that it keeps the score, that big 0 up on the scoreboard. And my guess is this is 3-down territory. You're going to want to get a major on the board. I don't think field goals are going to be nearly enough. So you got 2 plays here. If you get half the distance, you set up a more manageable 3rd down.
Second and goal. Fergus feels the blitz. The ball's out. Bounces around. Who has the ball? Flag is thrown. And now we have a shoving match between the two teams after the recovery.
Yeah, Jalen Butcher, again, gets pressure all the way across, and here's where you have the quarterback's inexperience. He scrambles, and the ball, you'll see on the replay, the ball is at his hip. Quarterbacks are supposed to be taught to have two hands on the ball and keep it high. It's down at his hip, and then you get Jalen Butcher who punches that ball out. It's recovered by the Fratmen, and then you get one of the old linemen, looked like it was number 68, Tyler Lovell, who pushes, gets an unnecessary roughness call at the end of that, and now the Fratmen have completely flipped the field instead of them being inside their own 10-yard.
Against the defense after the turnover. First down.
Yeah, and look at that. The Fratmen now with 2:22 and a timeout still to handle. They have the ball at the 36-yard line, and instead of it being maybe 28-7, I would not be surprised if Coach Lachance takes a shot right now over the top to either McCraney or Marcus Cooper, anyone in the slot that they get a mismatch in, because they can get vertical here.
1st and 10. They go to the ground instead, and the ball's loose. Ball bounces around on the rush that time from Samuel Shiani. And it's recovered by London.
No, it actually appears
it looks like
that
they signaled towards.
Yeah, no, they're giving it 2nd down, so they're fortunate to get that. And a little earlier, Nash Perry, we'll see here on the replay, it was Shianti, gets chopped. The ball gets taken. Now, he had the ball in his left hand as he was working his way back into the line. Fortunately, the Fratmen were able to recover, and it looks like they're bringing their heavy set in right now to maybe wedge themselves forward for a 1st down, and that's indeed the case as you see number 11, Prent Dunaha, come in, and he's going to try to just push this pile forward for the 2.5 yards.
Got some luck there. The jumbo set pushing forward, has the 1st down, still pushing. Brought down finally at about the 51, maybe 52.
And Coach Rice must be ecstatic right now. You got an offensive line that's just eager to try to push that pile forward. Working with the O-line all those years, just getting that, it makes me so proud to see O-linemen take a lot of pride in wedging forward and pushing the pile like that.
Absolutely. Of course, WeTV's coverage of the St. Clair Saints is coming right around the corner, starting with Friday Night Volleyball against Mohawk. The ladies start at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Men start at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Followed by basketball, starting off with the first home opener for the Saints between the ladies and the men, 2 and 4 p.m. on we-tv.ca. Meanwhile, a big play to Marcus Cooper with a big hit. The ball is out, and a London defender is down.
Yeah, and you'll see here on the replay, they go to that slot go route, and then you get a solid. Now, both receivers did a good job of not targeting or hitting into the head area of the receiver. It looked like Marcus Cooper got it right on the hip, so he's down, and it looks like it's number 16 for the visitors, Noah Olenek, who's down as well. And it looked like Noah was on the receiving end of most of the collision. He absorbed a lot of it. A clean hit. It was a big collision, but I think both defenders did a nice job of not getting into the head or neck area.
Yeah, absolutely. Apologies for that slight technical issue, but now it looks like Cooper's going to be carried off the field for the Fratmen.
And that's going to be an issue moving forward, because you'll see here on the replay, he goes up for the ball and he gets hit right on the hip, and then he lands on that very hip. He tries to get back up, and it looks like they're bringing him right to the bench. He's walking gingerly, but at least he's sort of walking a little bit. I still don't see Devin Woods. My guess is we're not going to see Devin the rest of this game right now, but that's a concern. And you'll see here he's just looking at his neck. It's fortunate for Olenek here that his helmet's off. He's moving all his extremities. It might be a stinger. It's a terrible feeling.
As they take Noah Olenek off the field, one of our presenting sponsors for tonight's coverage of Fratmen football is Harold Remark and Royal LePage Binder Real Estate. Harold Remark will help you find your next home. But as mentioned, Noah Olenek now starting to go towards the sideline here in this matchup. Minute 38 to go in the first half here. As Olenek goes to the sideline after what was a big collision between him, Cooper, and it looks like Willie Mboko as well. Mboko did not get the brunt of that collision, but it's going to be second and longer than that, 2nd and 10. As they set up now. 2 slot backs to the left side of Allen. He'll pass once again. Throwing towards the right middle, complete. Omar Hayes-Williams with the reception that time.
No, actually, Justin, it looks like it came out of his hands.
Yeah.
We got an incomplete pass here. He rolled on the turf, and it rolled past and through him. It's going to bring up a 3rd down and 10.
And now that's going to mean either way, special teams units coming out, that would have made the first down marker regardless on that play. Aaron Sanders is now standing by down to the sidelines. Aaron?
Hey, JP, I received update from one of the trainers. Earlier in the second quarter, Devin Woods went down. It appears to be an apparent ankle injury. They have confirmed it is an ankle injury. He is out for the rest of the game, and as you just seen a minute ago, Marcus Cooper Williams down. Keep you updated on that injury. Well, for now, we go back to the game.
Thank you very much, Aaron. As meanwhile, the punt returns brought to about the 30. As you might have just heard, Woods out for the game. Cooper still being evaluated. 2 wide receiver options unavailable now for the Fratmen for the time being.
Yeah, and Marcus Cooper Williams also is one of the primary return men for the Fratmen as well. So with Marcus Cooper, they'll have to go to their 3rd option in the special teams return game. So it's something to keep our eyes on. Bottom line is you have either team. The winner's going on to play a championship game next week, and injuries are the last thing you want to see mounting on as you progress through the playoffs.
1st and 10 at the 30 for the Beefeaters with a minute 19 to work with. They're passing. Fergus, incomplete, intended for Waller. It'll be 2nd and 10.
It was probably better that it was incomplete because there were 2 Fratmen defenders there to try to make a tackle, and that just, quite frankly, was destined to be a loss, so the incompletion. The only problem with the incompletion is the clock is now stopped, and it will stop until the snap, so the Fratmen could end up with field position because right now the wind has picked up and it's into the face of the visitors. And if they have to punt, the Fratmen could get field position here with enough time to add to their 28-point lead.
2nd and 10 at the 30. Possible must-convert situation as Fergus passes again. Looks to the left side, incomplete again. It'll be 3rd and 10, this time intended for Tawijny once again.
Yeah, and that only took 5 seconds off the clock, so you're going to have a minute and change here. So the Fratmen will probably have pretty decent field position with a minute left in the game to add on to their lead. And just to give you an update, it looks like it's number 18, which is Dante Lewis, and number 15, Jared Hayes-Williams, deep to return it, as we've identified that Marcus Cooper is out as of now and will keep his status on to add to the report that Devin Woods is out for the rest of the game.
And we'll see how the return game goes. Punt snap went a bit wide. Punt deflected as this will be bouncing around, picked up at about the 44. Lewis dives on it and goes down at about the 43.
Yeah, and it might very well have been deflected. It did look like from our angle here it was deflected. A bad snap, high snap. So we get some hands on it, and that was number 42, Matt O'Neill, who might very well have gotten a piece of it because the ball acted like it was deflected, and the Fratmen have great field position here to add to that big lead already.
And now put them even better field position than they would have had before now with 1st and 10 with 1 minute and 1 second to go. Do you see them trying to go for more points now?
Absolutely. I don't mind a run here if you think you have a soft box, but take a shot. You might as well. There's nothing left. You have to win this game.
1st and 10. Allen hands it off. Nash Prayer, the back. Cuts through traffic. Has the first down, brought down at about the 26.
Yeah, and that to me is one of those ones where the defense might be feeling a little bit, hey, we don't want to give up the big play, and you have a soft box, and you get to run inside here. It's just a great job by Nash of keeping his balance and fighting through, protecting the ball, and picking up about 20 yards on the play. That's a good effort there. Good push by the offensive line. So now you have all options, run and pass.
London adds an extra linebacker for this 1st and 10 as Allen throws. Omar Hayes Williams hit hard. Marked down at about the 21.
All right, quick decision. It looks like he's in bounds, so the clock is going to start as we see here the replay. Just a quick little hitch on the outside, or a hook, excuse me, and he was caught and tackled in bounds. So you're going to have the clock winding in.
And now 2nd and 4 as watch Omar Hayes Williams still set up on the right side, upper part of the screen. Allen looks to the left, scrambles, dodges to the right, tries to deke around someone, but brought down at about the 15. The tackle brought down that time. It looks like that was Neff Portillo with the tackle.
Yeah, and that's a first down run for Colton Allen, and you see on that scramble there, he looked like he was trying to sprint out to the left, saw some ground, picked it up right away, and with 23 seconds left and counting, the Fratmen do not elect to use their timeout here. Hopefully they can get a couple plays off here.
15 seconds left. Allen intercepted. Picked off on the pass up the middle by Oscar Redkop. He's still off to the races down the sideline, brought down just past center field.
And that's the first time we've mentioned his name. He is probably their best defensive player. And number 34 showed his colors there. He just stopped and took away that hook to curl. He read the quarterback's eyes right away. It looked like Colton Allen was trying to target number 15, Jared Hayes Williams, and he had his eyes locked into him the entire way. Redkop stepped right in front of that slant or post right through the B-seam curl area, and you have the linebacker dropping to that very area in that cover. Looked like a cover 3 zone. Picked it off. Great return across midfield, and probably maybe a Hail Mary or some sort of trickery, maybe a delayed draw, but the Beefeaters avoid disaster.
About 2 seconds left in the first half. They go to the ground. The rush play gets a few yards, brought down at about the 35, but either way, they'll end off the first half. The Fratmen, a very strong start and a very strong second quarter as they score 21 points in the second quarter to move to 28-0 over the London Beefeaters here on WeTV. We'll be back in just a moment. Aaron Sanders will be having your halftime coverage here on WeTV. You're watching the OFC Semi Finals.
We are resilient, often knocked down, but never backing down. You can spend your whole life on the outside looking in, or you can live it on the inside. Because that's where your passion lives. The drive to push beyond the naysayers, to find the fire that ignites your toughness. Because the truth is, winning always comes when you start from within.
Windsor started a tradition way back of giving us great barbecue north of the border, and you can taste that tradition when you come to Tommy's Barbecue. Dive into Tommy's rotisserie-style ribs and chicken, along with the crinkle-cut fries, coleslaw, and the original hot and sweet sauces. Plus all those amazing desserts like Black Forest cake and strawberry cheesecake. Taste the tradition and so much more at Tommy's Barbecue, 999 Erie Street East. See you there, Windsor.
If you're planning to build, renovate, or upgrade, you need a master electrician on your team. Today's electrical codes are in place for your safety, insurance compliance, and peace of mind. Our professional team stands ready to help solve your residential, industrial, or commercial electrical challenges. Trust DS Electric in Windsor to get the job done safely, on time, and on budget. Call or message us today for a full...
Welcome back here on WeTV for the OFC Semi Finals round. At the half, it's 28-0. The Beefeaters trailing the Windsor Fratmen. Joining me is the Beefeaters head coach Chris Marshall. And Chris, your thoughts on the first half?
Obviously, being down 28 points is very disappointing. In particular, we've had some opportunities to do things. We've turned the ball over in very opportune positions for us. You can't be happy with that. Some of the injuries has also, put us back a bit. So, we just got to regroup, try and get back in this game somehow. So, I still have faith in my guys that we can make some plays.
I was about to say those injuries were key too. How are you going to work yourself around this, considering there's another half to go? And keep in mind there was a pickoff attempt near the end of the first half. Yep. That's got to be a spirit booster for you guys.
Oh yeah, we just got to win every rep, or that's a mandate next half. We'll have to go and defend them again. Versus last time we played here, where we gave up a lot of big plays early in the game. I felt like we've made them have to work for all their scores, so that's been great. But for us now, we got to turn our success into points.
What were some of the improvements? Because basically the way you two teams have been going at it the last couple of weeks, I thought you guys were buddies. I mean, what did you see from the Fratmen that you guys really worked on in the few weeks heading towards in this game?
Well, what we did last week and this week was just try and eliminate the easy scores, the easy points, because that's always been a struggle for us. So I felt like we're there. Offensively, we had a great game plan, and I just didn't anticipate the situation we're in. So you only get 4 plays with your starting quarterback. That's just going to hurt any team. So what we're doing now is really tailoring the offense down to the skills of the quarterback that we have. Just at this point, he needs to protect the football, and we need to just make the extra play for score.
And I'm sure you had to tailor through the weather, because we had a whole monsoon here. University played earlier today. They went through hail, and we had a little bit of hail here a few months before the game. So I'm sure this was like a change of plans, if you will.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, fortunately, coming from London, we had very similar weather all day today. We played Windsor 2 weeks ago in the same type of weather, so it's been manageable from a sense. But I mean, the wind here has been pretty significant, just in the ability to throw and kick, and and it's cold. I think you can agree with us. It's a cold one out here, so we just got to keep it simple and just, as I said, tell these guys, just continue to execute and don't make mistakes.
All right, we'll let you go before the wind blows us over, Chris. Thank you for your time. That's Chris Marshall, the head coach of the London Beefeaters. At the half, it's the Fratmen 28, the Beefeaters 0. Remember, once again, the winner of this game will go on to play against the winner of the Hamilton GTA Grizzlies game next week for the OFC Championship. Currently, the Fratmen are the championship holders of the OFC right now. We'll see how things go. We'll be back for you in a few minutes for the call of the second half with JP Justin Prince and Buddy Kawash. You're watching the OFC Semi Finals on WeTV.
We are resilient, often knocked down, but never backing down. You can spend your whole life on the outside looking in, or you can live it on the inside. Because that's where your passion lives. The drive to push beyond the naysayers, to find the fire that ignites your toughness. Because the truth is, winning always comes when you start from within.
Windsor started a tradition way back of giving us great barbecue north of the border, and you can taste that tradition when you come to Tommy's Barbecue. Dive into Tommy's rotisserie-style ribs and chicken, along with the crinkle-cut fries, coleslaw, and the original hot and sweet sauces. Plus all those amazing desserts like Black Forest cake and strawberry cheesecake. Taste the tradition and so much more at Tommy's Barbecue, 999 Erie Street East. See you there, Windsor.
If you're planning to build, renovate, or upgrade, you need a master electrician on your team. Today's electrical codes are in place for your safety, insurance compliance, and peace of mind. Our professional team stands ready to help solve your residential, industrial, or commercial electrical challenges. Trust DS Electric in Windsor to get the job done safely, on time, and on budget. Call or message us today for a full, comprehensive estimate.
Welcome back, everyone, to WeTV's coverage of the OFC Semi Finals. Justin Prince alongside Badi Quaz. As we're about to start off the second half, the AKO Fratmen lead 28-0 over the London Beefeaters so far in the 2 versus 3 matchup. It was a very strong game, very strong first half rather for the Fratmen, up already by 4 touchdowns. Badi.
Yeah, solid first half that couldn't have started much worse for the visitors as they lost their starting quarterback in the first series. The second play of the game, he took a hit and he has yet to return.
And with that, the opening kickoff of the second half is underway. He'll be returned from about the 20-yard line by Dante Lewis. Cuts across the 40, has the blocks, across center field, and he'll be finally brought down by the punter and kicker at around the 49-yard line.
Yeah, that might have been number 15, Jared Hayes Williams on that return.
Correct
there.
On that
Yeah.
one, pardon me.
And you'll see here on the replay, it was a bouncing ball. It did take a couple hops, and you'll see him pick it up, and then he just pretty much goes straight up the field. He stays on the numbers. There you go, and good blocking, and he was able to cross midfield and get the Fratmen set, so a great start for the Fratmen as they're going to probably try to get a home run ball and put this game away early in the third quarter.
Allen will set up at 1st and 10 at the 52-yard line. Hands it off to Preyer. Preyer pushes his way forward to about the 42-yard line for a decent gain. He'll be second at about 5 or 4.
Yeah, and that's exactly how you want to start if you're an offensive line. You'd love to be able, because I believe Nash went over 100 yards in the first half, and that's just going to add to his total. He hasn't found pay dirt in the end zone yet, but I'm telling you right now, that offensive line probably wants to get their back a touchdown.
It'll be 2nd and 4 now after the 6-yard rush. Preyer still the back, 2 slot backs set up to the left side once again. 4 at the line for the Beefeaters. Allen steps up in the pocket, scrambles forward, has enough for the first down at about the 35. And it looks like he's reached for a split second, gets up onto his feet, but has to go to the sideline. Let's look at the halftime stats meanwhile after the first down, and you can see first downs were something that were plentiful, and yards for sure as well, Badi.
Yeah, just dominated by the Fratmen. Not nearly enough first downs for the visitors. You always want to try to get to around 22, 24 in a game. Fratmen are well on their way, but the visitors are not.
And Allen electing to stay in the game after getting up gingery for the split second. He'll hand it off to Preyer for first down. Cuts to the left. Pushes forward. Just enough for the first down at about the 25 for a gain of 11.
Yeah, it was a great camera angle from our crew there. They run counter Trey, and what a disciplined run by Nash. He follows his big bodies. He keeps his feet going, patiently working behind the offensive line. You just see him get right behind 67, pushes his way forward, and he works his way up the field for a big gain. That's a wonderful job of running the ball by Nash Preyer, being patient behind his big lineman.
In the first half, 12 carries, 102 yards, with the longest being 28 yards. That continues to grow in the second half as Allen throwing towards coverage, almost intercepted. Bobbled around. Braden McCraney was the intended receiver on the play.
Yeah, I don't think Brandon McCraney saw the ball. Either he was blinded by light or glare or something, but there was miscommunication because Brandon McCraney looked like he didn't expect the ball. It was a low snap, gets the ball to the seam, and then he just drifted away. So maybe the wind played a little bit of a factor because it turned McCraney around, and at the last second you see him reach with his left hand. So a miscommunication or a missed target there by the quarterback and receiver.
Second down, Allen throws the quick wide receiver hitch. Jared Hayes Williams gets a few yards and brought down at about maybe the 22. That'll be third down.
And the guys get out in front of them, block, and they just miss one, and that was the linebacker, number 51 for the visitors, Mo Kadri, who was in the backfield initially making some pressure. But you have the wind, you have what's relatively cold conditions out here. Field goal's probably not your best bet. Might as well go for it considering the Beefeaters haven't really had much offensive success.
Going forward on third down of the Fratmen. Allen passing, throwing it to the end zone. Incomplete. Intended for Omar's Hayes Williams, but gusted out of bounds.
Yeah, great play by the offensive line and the quarterback. They go on a hard count, and you'll see here that the Beefeaters jump. So Colton Allen knows he's got a free play. He's going to go over the top, and that's going to bring up a third down and about two. Don't be surprised if they go to their jumbo set and they bring in their big bodies here.
And Aaron Sanders is now standing by on the sideline. Aaron? And it looks like we might have a technical issue. Apologies for that. We'll get to Aaron as quick as possible. He has an injury update along the sideline. As now, meanwhile, play down close. On the third down going for it here. Looks like there might have been a flag that happened along the play. So a repeat of down. And it looks like might have been just enough for a first down all of a sudden.
Yeah, much more than just enough. They went to their heavy set again, their jumbo package, and they're keeping their jumbo package in again. They're just going to try to push forward here with their bigs. And like I said, this is just bully ball. You get a couple guys, big 68, big 92 reporting. They're eligible. They get in the backfield, and they just push this pile forward.
And the jumbo set continues on 1st and 10 at the 11. He pushes his way for a gain of a few, but a flag is down on the play, it appears.
And it was thrown right away, so my guess is the Beefeaters were lined up offside. That's a pretty traditional call when it's thrown that quickly, but we'll get the official call from Alex Jemmy.
Once again.
Yeah, that is the call, so they're going to get a 5 yards and a first down replay here.
Again, referee Alex Jemmy, umpire Bruce Carter, Corey Cousins, Chris Patton, John Dobson, Todd Whited, and Kirk Hayes among the crew as well for tonight. Either way, moves it to first down, it appears.
Yeah, it's going to be 1st and 5 at around the 6-yard line. You'll see the referee indicate right now that the penalty.
Offside on the defense.
Yeah, so that 5 yards is going to give them a 1st and 5. They can get a first down because the sticks all the way to the 1 yard line, so the Fratmen can get it. As you see, they keep the heavy guys in there.
And this worked a lot in the first half for 45 yards. Jumbo set pushes for a gain of a couple to about the 2 or 3. That is near the chains, so it'll be 2nd and short, it looks like, possibly here.
Yeah, and I mean, the Beefeaters are just getting a little alert here. They're realizing that they're just pushing forward. At this point in time, maybe there's a wrinkle in this set. Maybe they can get some sort of off-tackle run here. They probably have something repped, as they do have a back in the backfield.
Dahana again sets up under center. This time, cuts to the right side of the jumbo set. That gets them to about the 2 this time. And we'll have to see if this is enough for the first. That is another decent gain right around the sticks.
Yeah, and this time, as opposed to wedging forward, they run a little bit of an off tackle. And it looked like he was just short of the first down. So it's going to bring down a 3rd down, and no surprise here. They get the bigs in. They'll just wedge this forward. If they get the first down, great. If they get the touchdown, even better.
The back that is setting up behind them is Nathaniel Ganish, who will set up behind this line. Pushing at around the 2. Is it going to be enough is the question. London thinks it's going towards a turnover on downs.
Yeah, but London might not realize that they can get a first down. Now, we do have a flag on the field. It did get thrown right away, so you're probably going to see another offsides against the Beefs, which would give them a first down. Depending on this spot may have given them a first down.
And right now, once again, going towards the refs here. Once again, refs today, Alex Jemmy referee, umpire Bruce Carter, with Corey Cousins, Chris Patton, John Dodson, Todd Whiten, and Kirk Hayes. Here's Jemmy.
Offside on the defense. Half the distance, first down.
And second time it's been that kind of a situation, it's been an offsides for London.
Yeah, and when you get that offsides there and it's half the distance, but they'll put the ball back at the 1 yard line, because even though it might have gone inside the 1 in Canada, you always reset the ball back to the 1 yard line. My guess is you bring Colton back into the game. Maybe you bring your first group offense back into the game. Try to run just your established running play. They've beefed up the inside, a play onwards. Nope, but it does look like that Coach Lachance has ultimately decided to leave the heavy set in.
And coming into tonight, I haven't seen Coach Lachance use this jumbo set as much as he has tonight. Maybe once or twice a game. But tonight, it's been nearly almost double digits the time they've gone with the set with this man in Dahana under center to push the line forward. First and goal at the 1. Tries to go to the left side this time, but swallowed up right at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, that's why I don't necessarily like keeping that heavy package. And they had to try something different. They've loaded up the inside. So they get Prent taking the snap, and he's going to hand the ball off. He gets stepped on by one of the bigs who reported. That's number 68 for the Fratmen, and that's Rodney Rodram. And again, if you're going to keep him in wedge forward.
And this time they do wedge forward. And this time enough for a touchdown. Touchdown, Fratmen. Now put them up 34-0, 35-0, pending the extra point.
Yeah, it's a nice play to have in your back pocket. You got to rep it, so good on the team to practice something like that. It's not something you just randomly put together and say, well, we're going to quarterback sneak. You have to be able to rep that in practice and simulate as best as possible some gameplay to that, so that when you do get the situation for a third and short, second and short, you can convert them every single time. As the wind is really, really picking up, these extra points might even be adventurous. That one was good, and that's going to, like you said, get them to 35-0, Justin.
And a very strong game still for the Fratmen, up 35-0. Today's game is presented by Nodis Athletic Incorporated, established in 1946. One of the premier places to go for all football equipment needs in Windsor, Essex County. And so far, it's been a premier performance from the Fratmen. In terms of this heavy set, I looked this up with Dahana, not a single carry in the regular season for him. And today, above 50-plus yards.
Yeah, and that's exactly why they rep this. They went to it, and they want to see it in live action. Ultimately, your big, tall, lean quarterbacks might not be the best case scenario to go out and wedge these forward. A lot of CFL teams have their specialty guy for short yardage. I know myself, I've done that a number of times with my specialty guys as we see the ensuing kickoff. But you want to be able to get reps at that, especially when, like you said, it's somebody who hasn't handled the ball all that often.
And this time, the going for the squib kick returned out of bounds to about the 43. And you've seen the reason just before that with the wind. Earlier today, OUA action seen multiple field goals go wide of the uprights because of that gusting wind towards the north.
Yeah, and a smart play. Get the ball bouncing around, and you never know whether it's going to take a favorable bounce in your direction. The coverage wasn't all the greatest, but sometimes when the ball gets dribbled so quickly, it's hard to get the coverage down there as quickly as possible, so it's bound to give up some return. But the ball is blowing right now. As you said, the wind is gusting, but the ball left its actual original mark and started blowing forward, as you see Mr. Carter trying to stamp the ball down into the ground.
It's going to be marked at the 42, stamped down at the 42, as the Beefeaters try and put a stamp on this game on the offensive side. Throwing on the motion, complete, and brought down at about the 46. That time, the reception by Cody Young.
Dante Fornaserio missed an opportunity for a big play there. He was coming off the corner with a blitz action and just took a bad angle. Bad angle allowed Fergus to get out to the outside and complete a pass, so you turn a negative into a positive. It brings up a second and medium.
Mac Fergus, in the first half, 4 of 15, longest pass, 8 total yards. And now starting to try and get some kind of a rhythm. Of course, not expected situation as heard during halftime. They hand it off for the rush this time for a gain of a couple. Still going to be short, 3rd and mid coming up.
And they're going to just have to punt. They have the wind with them right now. They have to hope that they can flip this field, and while they have the wind, get a couple short fields and somehow get 14 points up in this third quarter. With 14 points, you can still get back into the game in the fourth quarter, but you won't if you don't get anything going from a field position game, because right now the wind is clearly at the Beefeaters' backs.
The Beefeaters, meanwhile, punt it away as this will bounce around about the 25. Bounces right on by and out of bounds. This passing by Lewis. So the Fratmen retake the field once again on offense, up 35-0. Real quickly, the Windsor Spitfires are getting all set for their next home game as the Western Conference champs come to town again. That's the Sioux Greyhounds for Thursday, October 25th. Puck drops at 7:05 p.m. Eastern Time. Lots of great tickets still available. You can get them online at wfcu-center.com, in person at the box office, or at phone number 519-254-5000, extension 1.
So we have Dan Mayu in, Justin. I saw him warming up earlier, so it looks like Colton Allen's day is done, and they're going to give Dan Mayu an opportunity to get some reps in this semifinal game.
He was warming up as early as the first quarter, in fact, warming up a bit, passing the ball back and forth with Kyle LaFontaine. And this time, first play, gets a couple of yards. The McCraney was able to get that ball to about the 22, 23-yard line. In fact, a loss.
Yeah, they've run this about 3-4 times now, so the blocking just wasn't there for them. Good on the Beefeaters to come up and make that play, as the throw was out pretty quickly, but the Beefeaters have reacted quickly. We have a flag, and it looks like another offside, so the Fratmen are going to get the benefit of the doubt here.
Here's Jimmy.
Offside on the defense. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, first down.
Defensive off. There's the offsides to make it 1st and 5 rather than 2nd and 11.
Yeah, they shot themselves in the foot there. That was an alignment thing. Again, you have clearly marked lines on the field here. Make sure you're lined up properly. Don't give a good team freebies.
Absolutely, first down. Once again, Mayu throws it off the back foot. Fine Prayer on the screen. Prayer gets across the first down marker as he's brought down about the 34.5, 35-yard line. And that was a tough throw to get off there, too, with the pressure on the screen.
Yeah, and you're going to allow a little bit of pressure on the inside there because you want to invite that upfield rush, but just not enough sustainment of blocks once they locked on as they went downhill on that, which is going to only allow them to pick up maybe 4 yards. It's going to bring up a 2nd down and short.
And they mark it down to 2nd and inches rather than 1st down. It looked like when he got the catch, he was right just across the plane. Either way, 2nd and 1. One slot back in the motion. Flags thrown on the play. Mayu throws it on the broken play to McCraney as he's tackled at about the 32.
Yeah, but that's another offside. Good job by Dan Mayu. Good job by the offensive line, making sure that when they go on that hard count, they get it. That's great discipline because on 2nd down and short, I'm not a super huge fan of trying to go on a hard count because you have more to lose than you do to gain. You can go back and it's 2nd and 6, which is a huge difference. But there's
on the
call
defense.
Again.
It's a 5-yard penalty, results in a 1st down.
But that's something
Timeout.
you rep in practice.
Defense.
So you get the timeout from the defense there. So the D coordinator's just going to say, guys, watch the ball. That's something you learned in Pee Wee football back in the day, but great discipline, great confidence from Coach LaChance, and namely from the quarterback who says, listen, guys, we're going to go on a hard count. We're going to get these guys to jump. They're ultra aggressive. They're trying to create a turnover, but we're going to catch them in a short yardage situation where we're going to get a free one.
Let's take a look at the quarterback stats now for Daniel Mayu. In the regular season, 77 for 126 on passes, 61% completions with 1,275 total yards. That's an average of 10.1 yards per completion with 16 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Mind you, that's also rotating with Colton Allen in each of their games this season, and a strong performance from the young, strong-arm player.
Yeah, good completion percentage. Anything over 60% is solid. You'd like to see it probably closer to 65 or 66%. But the touchdown to interception ratio is very, very good there. It's something you want to see if you take care of the ball, especially when you have a young rookie quarterback.
You absolutely want to see that for sure, as he's going to bring the slot backs in motion once again for first down. Hands it off this time to Preyer. Preyer cuts his way forward. One man to beat. Dodges the man across the 40, the 30, across the 20, down the sideline, pushed around. Did he get to the pylon? No, he did not. Knocked out of bounds inside the 5.
Yeah, and that's just a great run. I was the benefactor of getting a chance to watch Nash run an awful lot. Nash played high school football for me at Essex District High, and for 5 years I gave him the ball an awful lot. The funny thing is, Nash started the season at receiver. He just thought at the next level, because he has good hands and he's got a long range to him, he thought he'd just be a better wide receiver. And finally, after week 3, came to the realization that if he wants to see the field a little bit more, because this team is stacked with receivers, he's going to have to play running back, which I truly believe is his natural position. And evidence is he ended up leading the team in rushing, and now he's on the verge of going over 200 in a conference semifinal game. Hopefully they give him the ball here, and he can find his way into the end zone as the snow starts to drop just a little bit on this cold day.
And hold on, timeout going to be called, and it looks like by the offense. So that's the first time out of the half by the Fratmen call with 4:37 around that mark to go in the third quarter, with first and goal marked officially at the 6-yard line. As let's take a look at your all-stars in the OFC between the Fratmen and the Beefeaters. And this is something we were both discussing a lot prior to the game. Offensive lineman Kyle Jennings for Windsor, as well as Austin Rowe and Tyra Lavelle for London on the offensive line. Place kicker Andrew Beaton, the all-star for the Fratmen, as well. A lot of different all-stars on this group. As well, receiving 2 different receivers for Windsor. Guess what? It's the Hayes Williams brothers, Omar and Jared, along with Spencer Foster for the Beefeaters, as well with the all-star core. Lots of different players from lots of positions, including on the defensive side of the football here, Badie, throughout this season. Very strong performances from a lot of these all-stars this year.
Yes, tremendous balance. They had several different all-stars. We'll get to the defensive all-stars on the back end of this play here. But they put a fullback on the field here, and they get Mayu under center.
And Mayu hands it off to Preyer. Tries to cut to the left. Breaks off the defender, but still going to lose yards. Brought down around the 8 or 9 yard line.
Yeah, it was a calculated timeout because they wanted to get the ball to Nash. That time Nash, I think he bounced it a little too prematurely. They tried to run a little counter play, and as opposed to just patiently letting the counter go as we have an injured Beefeater there, he thought he could sprint to that corner of the end zone, and unfortunately was cut off, and it's going to bring up a second down and goal as he lost a couple yards there. It's going to be about full 10 yards.
And that was Thomas Ramsey, who is the player now being checked out on the sideline. Either way, now going to be second and goal at the 10-yard line as Mayu gets the play from the sideline here. And you can see the snow starting to fall. Yes, it is late October, October 20th, and it is snowing in Windsor, Ontario.
Yeah, just a little. It's better than the rain. You're getting little drops, just a little bit here or there. Once it hits the ground, it's just dissipating immediately. But either way, it is a cold evening here. The players on the field don't seem to be ultimately affected. I know the guys on the sideline, both sidelines, they aren't standing still. They're jumping around, moving. They're huddling together. They're trying to stay as warm as possible.
And let's look at the defensive all-stars meanwhile. As we were mentioning it a little bit there, defensive linemen Jordan Krug and Brendan Hepburn for one each for each side. Linebackers Jalen Butcher, Oscar Redkop, who has an interception in tonight's matchup for the Beefeaters as the play is back underway. Mayu incompletion towards the end zone. As that'll be now third and goal.
Yeah, he was looking for number 80, Michael Ryan, and the ball was just thrown a little bit too low, a little bit too far to his outside. Unless maybe the receiver was supposed to just sort of stop instead of continue. That could have been like a slant stop type of a route. Either way, misconnection from the receiver and the quarterback, and you're going to have a 3rd down and goal for the Fratmen.
3rd and goal, about 4 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. Mayu, snap is low. Forced to scramble, throws on the motion, incomplete. Omar Hayes-Williams, the intended receiver. And with that, that'll end off the drive for the Fratmen.
Yeah, just awkward look to the snap there. I'm not sure if the center thought maybe the quarterback was under him, but it was just a bad snap, bad exchange. The play was destined to fail from the onset because you have to have the rhythm and timing from the snap. The quarterback was off sync. He couldn't get to where he needed to be, and that just means the receivers are not going to be in rhythm, and they're going to have to now scramble. Even if that ball was completed, it looked like it was well short of the goal line in the diving effort from the Windsor receiver.
I have to agree with you on that one. That now gives London the ball at the 10. Quickly, have more all-stars, defensive backs, 2 for the Windsor Fratmen, when Spencer Trenier and Elijah Blythe both have had significant impacts in tonight's semifinal matchup as London tries to go on the QB rush on 1st down. Able to scramble out of bounds at about the 16, 15-yard line mark that for a gain of about 5.
Good thing that was a sprint out to the right because Jalen Butcher was coming hard off of the left for the offense. And you see number 2 chasing him down all the way. If that was a designed sprint out the other way, you would have Jalen Butcher just gobble that up as he's coming hard off his outside linebacker position. He has been a difference maker all season, and today he has been a tremendous force on that football field.
Very tough defensively. 16 total tackles, 2 assist tackles with 4 interceptions in the regular season with Butcher. Meanwhile, 2nd down. Forced to scramble to the left this time. And brought down short of the markers by a couple yards, it looks like, by Dante Forcero on the scramble.
Well, I'm pretty sure they're going to have to go for it here because I think they're going to be maybe inches short. Oh.
Yep, they're going to market it forward, in fact, it looks like. A little bit of delay to figure out the placement of the ball, 1st and 10. On that scramble, just at the 1st down chains, too.
Yeah, and I think the quarterback got the benefit of the doubt. Mac Fergus was rolling on the tackler, which means technically he's not down yet, and that looked like it was a pretty good spot from the officials, and the Beefeaters get a little bit of a break and don't have to go for it on 3rd and real short from their own end.
1st and 10 at the 21. Beefeater sends 3 slot backs in the motion. Fergus passing to the left side, bounces around incomplete. Bounced off the backhand of Blythe on the reception intended, it looked like, for Foster.
Yeah, it's all-star against all-star. And quite frankly, Blythe has been all over Foster all game long. He has not had any room to work with, and even with his back completely turned, you get Blythe still trying to make a play. He batted that ball around. He was very close to batting that up to himself for a spectacular interception.
And now it's going to be 2nd and 10 with that deflection. Under 2 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. Fergus will set up once again. No running back behind him. Sends 2 slot backs moving. Rolls to the right. Throws it off just in time. And it's going to be marked incomplete. Ball rolled out right on the attempted pass completion to Waller.
Yeah, and that was Spencer Trenier in coverage. Real good job of making sure he timed that perfectly so that when the ball was in the air, he didn't get too early, and he knocked this ball and makes a play on the ball. As you see, the tackle comes in and the ball squirts out. Nice timely play by the all-star Spencer Trenier. Very smart football player. You watch him run, he's not the fastest. You look at him, he's not the biggest. But he's very smart. He puts himself in really, really good positions to make a lot of good plays. Last year, he was all over the field, and teams just not have challenged him as much this year because they know he's a playmaker on the defensive end.
Spurring to punt once again. Got it off just in time again as Lewis botches the return. Picked up by the Beefeaters in the 2nd time tonight. That similar situation this time at about the 54.
And this had such a weird spiral to it. It's a tremendous kick, and like you said, it was just a botched handle. Dante Lewis let the ball go right through his hands, and the coverage unit for the Beefeaters were able to hustle down the field and get a much-needed break as they get some field position as the ball is pretty much at midfield. They're on the +1 side, so that the 54-yard line of the Fratmen, but you still have to turn it into points, and I know the pride on the defense here wants to keep that shutout, that goose up on that board.
Now it's under a minute to go in the third quarter. Still no points through just about 3 quarters as Fergus, bullet pass, incomplete over the head of Foster. And that was, again, more tough coverage, and it looked like Foster just out of his edge. Either way, coming up for WeTV, coverage of the St. Clair Saints in OECAA action. Friday, October 26th, is volleyball against Mohawk as the ladies play at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, men at 8 p.m. Eastern. Then, basketball, as it's Redeemer in town to play against the ladies and the men at 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. Eastern Time, respectively, on we-tv.ca. 2nd and 10 now with under 30 seconds to go on the clock and rolling at about the 54-yard line. London trying to take advantage of good field position. Once again, Fergus feeling the blitz. Flag thrown at the line of scrimmage as the ball is incomplete.
Yeah, that was Jalen Butcher, who, 1, missed the sack, but 2, I think he was a little offside. I think he timed that. He might have a beat on the snap count of Fergus, but I think he jumped the gun just a little. So we're going to get the official call. It is indeed offside, the preliminary read here.
Offside on the defense. 2nd down repeated.
Coach Morency wants to turn the ball over, wants to get that thing back. He does not want to give up this shutout right now, and that's why he brought Butcher off the edge, and he was screaming in, but I believe he was offside. It looked like he got there a little early.
This could be the last play of the quarter here for the Beefeaters. What can Fergus do here on 2nd and 5, now at the 49-yard line? London stacking up the box, providing pressure. Fergus passing, and flags are thrown on the play.
And the advantage the Beefeaters just got, they just gave it back. That looked like that was the right tackle, number 62 for the visitors, Tyler Mitsis, and he rolled back, and that is indeed the case. That's a 5-yard penalty, and it did not look like he was influenced by the defense at all, but we'll wait. It looked like it was a procedural call against the visiting Beefeaters.
Had to see the official call here.
Offside on the defense. It's a 5-yard penalty. 1st down.
And it's offside against the defense, and you can hear the reaction from the Fratmen sideline, mind you, in the backdrop.
Yeah, I don't agree with that call. Now again, we get to see the replay of it. I think that was the right tackle who rocked and moved. I do not think that was a penalty because the Fratmen are allowed to move. They were not in the neutral zone. So just because they moved and they might have caused the offensive man to move, they were not in the neutral zone there. I believe that should have been on the Beefeaters.
Last play of the third quarter. Fergus, play action. Blitz coming. He's sacked in the backfield. Brought down by Alex Valihora. And that will be the last play of the third quarter as well in the Great Blitz.
Yeah, well timed. He comes off the edge there. No chance for Fergus as we wrap up this quarter. Much like the opening quarter, the Beefeaters only surrender 7 points in this quarter, but they don't get any closer.
35-0 is your score for the Fratmen over the London Beefeaters as they'll change sides here on we-tv.ca in what has been a dominant performance here at Alumni Field. As they continue to prepare themselves for this fourth quarter here for what has been a struggle of a game tonight.
That's an understatement. Struggle. That's it. Everything's been going wrong for the visitors. Right from the second play when they lost their quarterback, they have not had any offensive rhythm at all.
And it looks like they're going to quickly start off the fourth quarter, in fact, as the clock's already rolling for the fourth. Under 15 minutes to go here in regulation, and so it looks like they want to try and do something here, 2nd and 16. Fergus dances around the pocket and throws it into the turf, incomplete. 3rd and long.
Yeah, and that time they just play coverage behind, and it's just too difficult. It's too difficult for a backup quarterback to dissect what the defense is doing when he doesn't have enough reps. He's confused. His primary read wasn't there, and before you know it, the ball gets thrown away, and you're in that punting situation.
And now 3rd and 16, an update going on involving the game now is going on for the team, the 1st and 4th place teams. Hamilton Hurricanes win over the GTA Grizzlies 49-0. Confirmed that the winner will play in Hamilton of this matchup tonight. Fratmen currently lead 35-0 as now the Beefeaters punt it away once again. It blows out of bounds at about the 42. And there's that wind coming into play again as the ball bounces around the running track.
Yeah, that wind is now clearly in the favor of the Fratmen. So with the wind, the Beefeaters were unable to do much, and now they're going to have the deficit of the wind in their face for the remainder of this game. It's a formality now. I think it's virtually impossible with a backup quarterback for the visitors to mount any kind of comeback. You're probably going to see a steady dose of run here from the Fratmen. Just lean on them, get this clock going as soon as possible, and then just get out of here as healthy as possible.
1 minute into the fourth quarter as Mayu. Pass incomplete. Bounced into the turf in front of the intended receiver on the play as it'll be 2nd and 10.
And I understand that Coach LaChance wants to get Dan Mayu some reps and some practice, but I think the backfield, beyond Nash, I think you got to get your backup running backs a few reps as well, just to ensure that in the event that there's an injury beyond, you have some rhythm with your mesh points with your backup running backs.
Absolutely. Gianni's only had a couple carries at the most tonight, as this is going to be passed again, this time to Ryan. It looks like might have been caught at about the 51. Either way, 3rd and 5.
Yeah, it's good marking it a completion, but it is short. He gets his hands away. Let's see if he does pick it off the turf. Look like it might have been a good catch. Like, the ball can still hit the ground if the receiver's hands have caught and stopped the rotation of the ball. Either way, incompletion or completion, it's 3rd down in a punting situation, and the Fratmen are going to send this thing away. So once they blow it in, they'll start this clock back in here, and let's see if the Fratmen can actually get a big booming kickoff now that they have the wind at their favor.
One of the few times tonight we have seen Andrew Beaton set up to punt. 2 returners will set up for the Beefeaters at about the 25. Beaton scrambles around a bit, knocked to the turf. Flag was thrown before then as the ball bounces around, picked up on the 26. Another flag is thrown for a block in the back, as this is going to be Foster able to get to the 36, but again, multiple flags are thrown at the time of the snap and right behind Foster after picking up the ball.
Well, what you're going to get for sure, Justin, is an offsides against London again, and then another late flag, because I guarantee you a Beefeater said something to the referee. They were offside, flat out offside. Now, that's not necessarily a penalty. That was just, okay, we'll get off of that, but they only needed 4 yards. Now, you get a block in the back here, and then at the end of this, you're going to get a push in the back there against Anthony Garib there, and then one of the Beefeaters said something. Bottom line is, it was a 5-yard penalty to start. That first 5 is going to give the Fratmen a first down, because they only needed 4 for the yards to gain, and now we're going to see if there's going to be any add-on for any objectionable conduct beyond. This could end up being as much as 20-yard walk-off, maybe more, depending on what the referees deem as a major foul, because those are always added on to the back end of it.
You've seen after the catch, that it looked like Mboko would have been the one drawing the flag. Real quickly, one of our presenting sponsors tonight is Harold Remark from Royal LePage Binder Real Estate. Contact Hero Remark and Royal Painter Minor Real Estate today to find your next home. And meanwhile, the discussion currently going on around the center field line. As the third flag's been picked up, we'll have to see what the official ruling is from Alex Jemmy. As he'll set himself up.
We have multiple penalties. Offside on the defense. We have an objectionable conduct on the kicking team. We have no yards on the kicking team. We have an illegal block pushing the rear on the return team. That's a 10-yard difference. Repeat, third down.
Wow.
All right, so they're going to have to punt again. And after all is said and done, that flag, that late flag was against, so you have an offside. And during the play, everything that happens there, you get a no yard. So those two wash each other, 5 yards. Then you get a push in the rear, which is against the visitors. And then you get a objectionable conduct against the Fratmen. Now, that objectionable conduct was after the play. So after all those other ones pretty much offset, they have to back up 10 yards and replay the down. So that initial 5-yard offside, which would have given the Fratmen a first down, gets washed. They got to back up 10 because of the objectionable conduct. And that means it's a punting situation once again, 3rd and 14.
And Beaton will have to punt once again. And this time, going to bounce around the 29. Returned by Ulilat from about the 25. And he'll be brought down at about the 35 on the 10-yard return. So after all of that, 12:26 to go in the fourth quarter from a decent punt from Beaton.
Yeah, and he's doing a good job, solid job of getting it off. The protection is a little bit of a concern for me right now. Just my eyes are saying that there is some rush getting there. So I'm sure the coaches will have to hammer that out moving into next week. Just to secure that, you never want to have that block kick. It's just such a huge momentum swing. As we're going to take one more look here at one of our presenting partners, Nodis Athletics. They've been around for 70 years pretty much in this community, getting all of our athletic teams and all the sporting needs for Windsor Essex for, like I said, almost 70 years.
Very special part of the community, including the football community in Windsor Essex, as the pass is incomplete down the field. Torechny was the intended receiver on the play, so 2nd and 10 now at the 35, about 3 minutes into this fourth.
Yeah, you got to really help your backup quarterback up. He threw this up for grabs. It did hit you in the hands, but you got to fight for that ball. It just got. I know it was batted out. I know number 36, Tyler Maher, made a nice play on it, but yeah, you got to block him out, box him out maybe a little bit better, and then give yourself a chance to squeeze that ball. You need something to happen. You can't wait for an implosive play by the Fratmen, and just sort of, you have to make the explosive play yourself.
It's going to be now 2nd and 10. London's passing game, forced to use a backup quarterback after a second play of the game, suffering an injury, and their backup in Fergus able to find the completion down the sideline for a gain of a few, but not enough for the first down chains. That time caught by Foster. But it's been a game where they just have been struggling to gain rhythm with the injuries, and you see the continued struggle here.
And you get some pressure up the middle by number 42, Matt O'Neill, and then the receiver catches the ball. But you got scramble drills just happening. The quarterback does not have time to set his feet. 4-yard completions obviously aren't going to cut it right now. Coach LaChance needs to get to his sideline right now, talk to all his guys, make sure that they don't do anything stupid. Keep your composure, keep your balance. You have way more at stake, obviously, as you're going to the championship game in Hamilton next week to avenge two early season losses.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, the punt is off and away, as this will be returned by Lewis. Dances around the 47. Cuts across the field. Across center field. Still deking and duking. Getting some help. Pushed across the 35. Marked down at about the 34 on a heck of a return.
Yeah, Dante Lewis really wanted to make up for that botched punt he had earlier. So it takes a favorable bounce because he was able to cleanly field this as it bounced right into his arms, and then he just dances around, dances around, works up the right, cuts underneath a block, makes a guy miss, makes a little jump cut there. The next thing you know, he's going downhill again, picks up 15 yards after contact. A good effort by Dante Lewis there to get the Fratmen with some great field position.
That field position officially marked at the 34, approaching 5 minutes into the fourth quarter, up 35-0. Mayu flings it, incomplete. Intended that time for McCraney.
He had him. We have a flag on the field, and we're going to have to wait to see unless it was... Yeah, it looks like we're going to move this up 15 yards here on roughing the passer.
Yeah, that looks like to be the signal from Jemmy right now to the benches. And another mistake in this game gives now the Fratmen even better field position about the 20-yard line here.
Yeah, just you're losing your focus. It's hard. You're down 35-0. There's 10 minutes left in your season. For some of these players, it's 10 minutes left in their playing career, and they just don't want to finish off with just laying a big egg like that. So you might just get on the edge of being a little dirty, and you hit the quarterback a little late. The refs are always going to be extra cautious protecting the offense or protecting the quarterbacks. As we do get a procedure call, that is the left guard. You get some backup linemen in the game, and the snap count now just gets a little bit off, and you get anxious to try to fire off and make a great block there.
On the offense, 5-yard penalty, repeat first down.
Yeah, there was no question about it. That was the left guard, and I can't quite get the number right there. It might have been number 64, Mike McLaughlin. He does look like he's the left guard right now.
Yeah, appears to be exactly that case here. Either way, 1st and 15 with 10 minutes to go in this game. Mayu throws it to the end zone. Incomplete. Intended for Omar Hayes Williams. Now that makes it 3rd and 15. And now, what do you do if you're the Fratmen already up 35-0?
Well, I think it's second down. That was a first down play. So they're going to have another crack at it. But they throw the ball vertical to Omar Hayes Williams. But the thing is, with the wind pushing, and it is in their favor, but it's also moving towards us here on the stadium side. So he's going to have to throw that well outside shoulder of the receiver if he's going to try to do that fade route on the outside.
2nd and 15 at the 24. Mayu finds Omar Hayes Williams on the short play. Pushes along the sideline, knocked out of bounds. Ruled out at about the 17, maybe 18. That's still short of the first down chains.
Yeah, and you get Brendan McCraney, who makes a nice little block out there, which allows Omar to pick up pretty good yards there, 8 yards. You might try a field goal here, even though it's a 50-50. You might go for it in this situation. Good practice kicking in these punting or in these windy conditions. The outcome is not in question right now, so I think it's a right call. You're not trying to run the score up by kicking a field goal. I think you need to rep these situations. You don't get enough field goal rep situations in a game, so they're going to bring out the field goal kicker right now and try to get in these gusty, windy conditions, the mechanisms, the full thing, snap, hold, kick. Make sure you go through the routine. Make sure if you do miss it, you cover the kick properly. It's a great opportunity to get some film on the execution of this field goal attempt.
And beaten all-star place kicker this season. Kick is up. It's good. It's now 38-0 for the Fratmen.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you want to do. You want to get through the mechanics of it. They've only scored 7 points in the second half, so the offense is stalled a little bit. I know your number one quarterback isn't in, but quite frankly, Dan Mayhew's been just as much a number one as Colton Allen has. You've rolled a couple of the offensive linemen in. That's fine, but you still have to be able to execute, and that's an opportunity to execute that field goal attempt.
Absolutely agree with that for sure. The ball is going to be placed, of course, at the 35. But now, at this point, with under 9 minutes to go, London down 38 points. How do you feel they're going to just approach this to try and maintain that set focus you touched upon a bit before?
I think as a coaching staff, you just got to make sure that you get your seniors an opportunity to get on the field if they haven't played very much right now. Maybe get a handoff, some sort of run to your better players or your veteran players. Let them finish their career off with some pride on the field, get some extra plays, or at least get them off the field and acknowledge their efforts. A run, the Jalen Butcher looked like he was offside again, but he misread the under route. Either way, the Fratmen did a good job of not giving up much rush there.
The thing is, though, you called the play because they went to Jaquan Uliad on the rush. So went to one of the better rushers. Just couldn't go anywhere on that play. Moves them back for 1 yard for 2nd and 11. 2nd and 11. 2 slot backs to the right. Shifting 2 wide receivers on the left. Fergus dances around the pocket again. Throws on the motion. Incomplete. Tried to find Foster, but too high on the play.
The Fratmen may have been offside again. I'm not sure. There's a flag on the far side. And we'll see the replay here. Quarterback has just flushed out of the pocket. He scrambles, turns to his left, but he never gets his shoulders turned to drive through.
Offside on the offense. That penalty's declined. 3rd down.
It must have been one of the receivers jumping the gun a little bit as they crossed the line of scrimmage before the snap actually was executed. And that's going to bring up a 3rd down and long, and inevitably another punt for the visitors.
So 3rd and 11, special teams units comes out once again. Returners once again are Dante Lewis along with Jared Hayes-Williams with 7:43 to go until a punch ticket to the OFC Finals for the Windsor AKO Fratmen. Once again, going back to punt, once again, Cole Spearing, who has had some pretty solid punts despite the wins today. He'll punt it away from inside the 25. This time, not a solid punt. Picked up around the 53, dragged down at about the 53. And that was a awkward-looking punt there, Badi.
Yeah, he's trying to drive it and keep it low, out of the balance of the wind. Either way, the wind is really, really affecting the ball flight. Short kick, and it looked like you get Django again, who handles the ball wisely, quickly, making sure it doesn't bounce in the negative favor of the Fratmen. But me personally here, looking at this offense, I would just like to try to lean on them, see if I can get 3 or 4 first downs and kill this clock by running the ball, not giving the Beefeaters a chance to get on the board and preserving that shutout.
7 minutes to go. Mayu will pass once again. Airing it out deep. Finds Lewis. It's complete. Brought down at about the 25. That'll be 1st and 10 for the Fratmen.
Good job by Dante Luce going up and getting the ball. Decent protection from the offensive line. Gave him a clean pocket. Nice getting it at the high point, catching the ball with the hands, giving yourself the best opportunity to block out or box out the defender because you're extending your body and your back to him.
And now that marks the down officially at the 25. Clock continuing to roll down, approaching 6 minutes to go in the 4th quarter. Mayu hands it off, going to one of the backups this time. It's Ganesh. Ganesh gets to about the 14. And that's enough just to get past the sticks for a gain of about 11.
Yeah, and that's just a big man rumbling. Big man rumbling. He is he's thick, and he usually plays the primary role of a lead blocker. But right now in this single back pistol set, they have him as the feature back.
And would you believe in the regular season had just 2 total attempts on the ground for 15 yards, getting to that blocking specific. 1st and 10. Mayu. McCraney gets the reception, but is dragged down to the backfield. Nowhere to go there for a loss of about maybe 4.
Nice job by Jackson Werstein, who took down a very, very shifty player in McCraney. They try to do that little ISO hitch to the slot receiver, and more times than not, McCraney makes the first person miss, and an excellent job in the open field of breaking down and wrapping up the shifty little receiver.
Now 2nd and 13, under 5 minutes to go in the 4th quarter. 38-0 is your score as the Fratmen continue to drain down the clock and try and hold on to a shutout before going to the OFC Finals. Mayu. Pass. low. Ruled complete, it looks like, as that one complete to Kyle LaFontaine at the 10. That is short of the sticks, as it'll be third down.
Yeah, and they're going to go for it, I would suspect, from here. And they do keep Dan Mayu in and the offense there. Good job of going to get the ball that was low near the turf by the receiver.
3rd and 6. And it's getting to where the Fratmen are draining up to almost 30 to 40 seconds, rather, off the clock per play. Mayu finds LaFontaine. That one caught at about the 3, and that might be just enough for the first down. In fact, it is. 1st and goal.
Good job by the receiver, just settling in that little soft zone. Good throw, catches the ball, protects himself. And you have to run those kind of routes just deep enough. 1 yard past the sticks, which he was able to do, gives you a first down and goal, and it's going to allow you to milk more time off the clock here. If you take all 3 plays, you can take as much as 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes off this clock here.
Fratmen switching in now. Hold the Jenko in as the running back for this 1st and goal play. Mayu throwing. Almost intercepted. Bounced off Neff Portillo, it looks like, on the play. Intended for LaFontaine.
He's upset with himself, and he's just talking to himself here. Low snap, but the ball comes out, and it looked like Portillo just ran the route for the receiver, and that one there just got away from him.
And that could have been a big play now. Whistle being drawn for timeout with 3:03 to go. And that will be the last timeout for the Fratmen, just before the 3-minute warning, mind you.
Yeah, timeouts are irrelevant at this point. I think what Coach LaChance is trying to do, especially with mostly backups in the field here, is emphasize the point of execution. Perfectly execute the play. You don't always have to get a completion. You don't always have to get a touchdown. But what you have to be able to do is good snap, good timing on the throw, making sure you don't turn over the ball, doing what you're supposed to do. If the defensive player makes a decent play, that's fine, but you want to block, you want to execute here. All these guys are fighting for a potential position, whether it's in next week's game should somebody get hurt, or even moving forward for next year. You still want to execute. Exactly why you take a timeout there. I don't think you're trying to run up the score and score just because we have to beat them by 50. No. You just got all these backups in, and you want to make sure that they're executing in the event that their number gets called next week.
Yeah, and I'm seeing receivers like Dylan Samuels setting up on the outside. We have not seen too many snaps of for this 2nd and goal as Mayo rolls out right. Almost intercepted, batted away midair by Mboko. 3rd and goal coming up.
Yeah, and it's just straight sprint out there. And Dan Mayu, I just don't think he was going fast enough. I think he needed to extend that and get out there a little quicker. He was looking like he wanted to throw the ball a lot sooner. So the design of that sprint out should have been maybe just a little quicker, which would have allowed maybe that deep over route, because it looked like somebody was opening up in the back of the end zone. He would have seen it if he could clear out a little bit more. But it's going to bring up a 3rd down and goal situation as they keep the offense on the field.
3rd and goal. Fratmen continue to swap out the backs. This time it's Gianni as the running back for 3rd and goal. Mayu passing. Tries to find the end zone. Has his man. Touchdown Fratmen. And that would be Dylan Samuels with the touchdown catch. It's 44-0.
Yeah, and I don't know if Dylan Samuels has a catch in the regular season. That might be his first catch on the season, which turns into be a touchdown catch in the playoffs. So that's something Coach LaChance wants to see. He's graduating a couple of receivers this year.
And that's why they're celebrating so much on the sideline. That is his first reception on the season, according to the team stats for the regular season. Extra point would make it 45-0 with 2:36 to go. As Coach LaChance continues to give his players experience, the kick ends up 45-0. Now your score.
Yeah, and this was a very young team to start the year. And they've balanced themselves out, finding the youth and the veteranism as they head into next week's final.
And of course, we have to say thank you to everyone who has watched Fratmen football this season on we-tv.ca, as well as their sponsors, including Nanas Athletic Incorporated, along with Harold Remark with World Page Binder Real Estate, and the rest of our many sponsors throughout the season, following along throughout the Ontario Football Conference season. Thank you for being a part of we-tv.ca's coverage of AKO Fratmen football in 2018.
And thank you, Justin. You've done a good job. You've brought some excitement to the broadcast. You give yourself every opportunity to be as prepared as possible. And it was nice working with you this year. This will be our last broadcast of the season for the AKO squad here for the Ontario Football Conference. I've had some fun doing this all season long, as we have just under 3 minutes left to play here.
I've enjoyed calling these games as well with you. Meanwhile, the wind continues to play a factor to the point where they're having a place kicker for the kickoff. Holding the place kick is Spencer Trenier as the kickoff bounces all the way to the end zone. Going to be returned around the uprights by Cody Young. He'll just take a knee in the end zone, and that will, I believe, add an extra point onto the board. In fact, it does with the Rouge.
The Rouge. It's still unbelievable that the Rouge is still on in an active play. I did see a flag down. I'm not sure if the flag fell out of the referee's pocket or it was an actual penalty flag. We're going to get the call because they're coming together here. Yeah, it does look like there was a rough play against the visitors.
It looks like it was put back in the pocket around the 25 by one of the officials. But we'll have to see what Jemmy says here. Here comes Alex Jemmy with the call.
Unnecessary roughness on the defense. 15-yard penalty. First down on the offense.
So what happened was on the kickoff, one of the Beefeaters took a cheap shot or just something away from the play. That's why it was unnecessary roughness. The point still stands, so the ball would have normally been advanced to the 35-yard line. The 15-yard penalty moves it back to the 20, and that's where we're at.
And now, 1st and 10 of the 20, what could be one of the final drives of the season for the Beefeaters. And a huge hit on the throw. Either way, complete for a gain of about 4 or 5. And a heck of an effort by Fergus to get that off right before the pressure came.
Yeah, it's getting a little chippy out there. You're getting some offensive linemen who are just pushing a little bit through the echo of the whistle there. A real solid hit on that quarterback. There's just a pressure there that just nice and low. Again, one of those ones where you avoid contact with the head, but he delivered a shot, and that looked like it was number 46, Lucas Ray, who went in and blitzed that B-gap and was able to get immediate pressure on Fergus. And Fergus has just been beat up a little bit. Not expecting to play quarterback all game, but he was called to duty, and he's been hit pretty hard today.
2nd and 7, under 2 minutes to go in the 4th quarter. Fergus hands it off this time, but the rush goes nowhere. A bit of a shove after the play, but no flag thrown. 3rd down regardless.
It looked like the ball got out. It looked like there was a fumble on the play there. It was recovered by the Beefeaters, but nonetheless, a misexchange with the quarterback and the running back, and that's going to bring up a 3rd down. It looks like they're going to go for it. It's an exercise in futility here right now, simply because what else are you going to do? They're probably going to take the delay of the game penalty, take 20 seconds off. The outcome's not going to change. It does look like now they're bringing in the punt unit, but the full-time clock is going to come off here. Mass substitutions, they got to stop the clock and let the defense adjust accordingly.
Yeah, the clock stopped with 1:28 on the board for a 3rd and 10. As this would give the Fratmen the ball to run out the clock.
Yeah, and it looks like the Fratmen only have 11 men on the field as they bring the punt team out.
And the punt goes up in the air, bounces right by Lewis, but out of bounds either way. Gets out of bounds at the 52 with 1:10 to go.
Here's the replay. Again, a little high snap, but the kicker's done a good job today fighting this wind, and he does get a favorable bounce as Dante Lewis does mishandle another one there. And with Marcus Cooper out of the game, Marcus Cooper was the primary return man for the early part of the game, and he's not on the sideline, nor is Devin Woods, who we know left the game early. So we'll see how those injuries transpire as they go to Hamilton next week for the conference championship. But with 50 seconds and counting here, this is the last couple plays of the game. The Fratmen advance to yet again another conference final.
Under 50 seconds to go. 5-man rush, it looks like, from London, possibly here. They're going to go to the ground. Rush on the ground for Ganish. Gets to about the 44. Now 36 and a half seconds left to go. And as you mentioned, Hamilton coming up. That is going to be a tough matchup again. 0-2 is the Fratmen against Hamilton this year.
Yeah, the season has come full circle for AKO. It opened up here against Hamilton. A pretty bad loss. Hamilton came in here and beat up the Fratmen. The Fratmen had a solid showing, but did lose up in Hamilton in their second meeting of the season. So now, AKO is just saying, like, beat us 3 times in a season. I've coached in this league a lot of years. Beating a team 3 times in a season is not easy, because it's sometimes you're wondering how hard, how awkward is it to defend and to adjust when you're winning. You're winning. Yes, you don't want to see that. Now, that's a little surprising that they actually threw the ball there, because Dan ended up getting a hit.
Yeah, that was incomplete. And the final score tallies as this winds down for the season for the London Beefeaters with the semifinal. 141-31, the score differential for the Fratmen over the London Beefeaters. As the clock reaches 0, Mayu will set up and take a knee. The Windsor Fratmen are going to the OFC Finals.
Congratulations to the players, the coaching staff, on a tremendous accomplishment with all the turnover this year. Justin, I know the coaches at the beginning of the year after that slow start against Hamilton were unsure where this team was going to end up, but good on them. They've turned this around in a quick fashion, and it will probably be a real good football game next week as they have to go to Hamilton, and Hamilton wants nothing more than to face the Fratmen. That's who they want to face. They want to face Windsor, period. They know that Windsor's this year clearly the second best team in this league. They want nothing more but to beat Windsor and move on, advance to whatever national semifinal play brings them.
And a heck of a performance overall tonight. The Fratmen come up with the victory. 46-0 is your final in the OFC 2 versus 3 semifinals matchup over the London Beefeaters. Everyone shaking hands in what was a very big game and a very big season. Once again, congratulations to the Fratmen. They say hello to the cameramen and celebrate. Aaron Sanders standing by on the sideline for post-game coverage as well. Here for what was a very strong season here on we-tv.ca for the Fratmen on their home turf here at Alumni Field. We'll be back in just a moment with your post-game coverage here on WeTV. The Fratmen come up on top. 46-0 is your final score over the London Beefeaters on WeTV. Stick around.
We are resilient. Often knocked down, but never backing down. You can spend your whole life on the outside looking in, or you can live it on the inside. Because that's where your passion lives. The drive to push beyond the naysayers. To find the fire that ignites your toughness. Because the truth is, winning always comes when you start from within.
Windsor started a tradition way back of giving us great barbecue north of the border, and you can taste that tradition when you come to Tommy's Barbecue. Dive into Tommy's rotisserie-style ribs and chicken, along with the crinkle-cut fries, coleslaw, and the original hot and sweet sauces. Plus all those amazing desserts like Black Forest cake and strawberry cheesecake. Taste the tradition and so much more at Tommy's Barbecue, 999 Erie Street East. See you there, Windsor.
If you're planning to build, renovate, or upgrade, you need a master electrician on your team. Today's electrical codes are in place for your safety, insurance compliance, and peace of mind. Our professional team stands ready to help solve your residential, industrial, or commercial electrical challenges. Trust DS Electric in Windsor to get the job done safely, on time, and on budget. Call or message us today for a full, comprehensive estimate.
Back here in Windsor, the final score of the Fratmen 46, the Beefeaters nothing, as the Windsor Fratmen are on their way for another OFC Championship game. Of course, joined by Mike Lachance, the head coach of the Fratmen. Coach, talk us what went through today and some of the game plan.
Well, your game plan kind of goes out the window when the weather hits you like this. It was extremely windy, rainy, cold, obviously. You simplify the game plan. I think we ran about 4 different plays the whole game, just different sides, obviously, and try to feature your athletes and get the ball into their hands. Colton did a great job early, got us in and out of some run, pass option type of things. Smart kid, put us in a good position, and we got up early, and it made it easy.
Well, Colton's someone you could rely to, and how much confidence does he bring to the offensive side, and how does the team work around him when he's in the zone like that?
Yeah, you know what, I think Colton and I this is the first game that we were really on the same page the whole time through its entirety. Play calling and quarterback, when you have that mesh, it makes offense very easy, and we were kind of in a zone today together, and it makes it very easy when he's like that, and very calm in the huddle, like I said, changing out of pass plays when they're heavy in the secondary, or changing out of a run play when they're heavy in the box.
Did you expect the cold weather like this today? Because it felt like we witnessed the whole 4 seasons all in just one day.
Yeah, I think I had 20 things that I brought here. I didn't know what it was going to be like when I pulled in 3 hours before the game. It was hailing, so you didn't know what you're going to get into. But we've got a very versatile group. We could run the ball, we could throw the ball. Defensively, we shut the run down. We got a great secondary. So I think weather aside, it doesn't really matter as long as we play tough.
You played a very good offense today, but now you got to play title defense heading into Hamilton to face the Hurricanes next week, a team that you guys haven't fared well against this season. So what are going to be the keys to that as you try to steal a W over there next week?
Well, we got to let our athletes be better than their athletes. That's the thing. I got to put guys in position, guys like Devin and Omar, Cooper, Lewis, Jared. We got great athletes at receiver, and we got to put them in a good position, to advantageous positions, let our X's be bigger than their O's offensively. And then defensively, we did a great job last game against them. We really limited Jake Marquette. I think we got to put the pressure on him and make him beat us. I mean, I know that's crazy. He's an all-Canadian, but you got to put it square on him. The game plan's going to be on him, and we got to stop it.
It was a fantastic home season. All the best to you next week, Coach. Warm up there. Yeah. Mike Lachance, the head coach of the Windsor Fratmen, as he flies right out of the season. It was a cold game, but nonetheless, the Windsor Fratmen punched their ticket in for another OFC Championship game with the final score of 46-0 against the London Beefeaters. That's going to do it for our coverage of Fratmen football for this season, but once again, tune in next week online, wherever on CJFL. Keep up on the social media to see when the Fratmen and the Hurricanes will do battle. That will all be on your social media. It's been a great ride here on the football field here at Alumni Field in Windsor. We thank each and every one of you, our viewers and fans, for tuning in for another season of Fratmen football here on WE TV. But keep in mind, just because football is over, we've got a lot more things that we're looking forward to. We got Saints Athletics going on along with all the other things, so be sure you keep on tuning on to WE TV. But that'll do it for us. Once again, final score 46-0. The Fratmen over the Beefeaters, with a big OFC Championship game prepared in the next little while. On behalf of the whole crew, we thank you again for watching, and until next time, this be Aaron Sanders saying thank you for watching, and so long from the Rose City.